up here at the moment. Okay, have that. Gonna have to fix some things here and there. Change this to that. Uh, Save. Okay, that should be doing that. Want to say everything is working here at the moment. We will check. One, two, three. 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 It'd be really helpful if I actually had my headphones on. Really helpful if I. It'd be. Let's have this there. I can do. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Just in time for us to have things before they kick off for free agency. Alrighty. Just do a quick one of those. Yeah. And Bob's your uncle. Gonna be a lot of Twitter surfing, searching up and down. Thanks for joining us for this ride. What the hell is my other slipper? It's right there. Okay, cool. Well, some people are apparently having issues with Twitter not working, and it officially begins. go. I'm not even sure if that's... Let's just... That... Free agency frenzy. Perfect. So yeah, obviously it's 10:01 where I am, but we are officially in the tampering period. So deals should be starting to roll in here over the next couple of minutes. It's gonna be interesting to see who is gonna be the first domino off the board. It's going to be just a lot of refreshing, and here we go. Good old Blue Jays domain. Again, Will, if you're watching, let me know. I think you're at work today, but if you got me in the headphones waiting for all the news to kick off, then we will, because we're kind of in this point where it's the calm before the storm, of where it can all kick off at any given moment. And I have like a sheet of paper here that I'm going to be writing all the deals on, and we're probably not going to say exactly, or we're not going to dive deep into every single deal at that exact moment. We'll obviously go with the bigger deals first, and when we have a little bit more time away from things, then we'll have it. But yeah, for the moment, again, big things are going to happen. It's apparently Twitter on the phone app is kind of having some crashing issues, so that could delay things. Well, if you're here in the chat watching, don't feel like you don't have to comment. Let's have some conversations and dialogue throughout this. Again, we're live on both Twitch and on YouTube, so thank you for hanging out with us here at 1IQ and hanging out with me throughout this process. Oh, let's see. First couple of deals. Tevin Jenkins has no communication with the Bears as of yet, but is garnering interest from multiple teams. Considering the signings the Bears have already made along the offensive line, it is not surprising. Yeah. To not see Tevin Jenkins potentially re-signing with the Bears, again, where would he go if they wanted him to be a predominant backup? That would be something, but I don't think Tevin Jenkins wants to be a backup. I think he's looking at this going, I'm going to be a starter, and some team's going to pay me starter money and pay me some decent cash to play around. But yeah, it is 5 minutes in, and we haven't seen anything as of yet. It is likely all about to kick off at a very, very high level here in the next few moments. But again, when you don't have Twitter working as well as it should, it sometimes gets a little bit crazy. Hassan Reddick has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Buccaneers, but he was also... Oh, no, he wasn't. Hassan Reddick to Bucks for a 1-year deal, $14 million. 14 mil, 12 mil guaranteed. Wow, okay. All right, so Hassan Reddick, we all know, did not want to play for the Jets last year. He was unhappy with the Jets. Wanted a long-term deal and does not get it with the Jets. And now he's only going to be signing a 1-year deal to actively have that that little bit of an extra bonus. But again, Hassan Reddick is a decent player. So we'll just go over to his stats over these last couple of seasons. Just taking a look at him. Stats, there we go. But yeah, this last year for the Jets, he actually played in 10 games, had 1 sack. So not necessarily one of his best years, but going back to the Eagles, he had 11, he had 16. The 1 year with Carolina, he had 11. And his final year in Arizona, he had 12.5. So this is a guy that does have production, was probably just in a bad spot for him. So yeah, first deal off the board. It's not a massive deal that we would have necessarily expected to see here. But overall, Hassan Reddick to the Bucks. Again, just a 1-year deal, $14 million, $12 million guaranteed. Not necessarily a bad deal for the Buccaneers. Also not a crazy deal. Again, Hassan Reddick going into this season will be turning 31. So there is that has to be looked at and monitored, because again, when you have a player starting to get to that age, you're not realistically gonna have long outstanding deals. Again, so far, 'tis the only deal thus far at this point. And I'm not gonna lie, in years past, it has basically been the clock turns to the new tampering window time period, and you start to see deals boom. Like, I'm pretty sure last year with DeAndre Swift, because I remember DeAndre Swift being one of the first guys that ended up getting signed. It was like in the first 3 minutes that was announced, and so far it's only Hassan Reddick that has been signed, but we'll keep refreshing and doing some stuff there. Chris Godwin is back with the Bucks, so Bucks out here making some moves here first. So a 66 or 3 years, 66 mil, 44 guaranteed at signing. Wow. So most of that is basically them just protecting themselves long term. That's a great deal for Chris Godwin, getting 44 of the $66 million as a signing bonus right away type situation. Like, that's a really solid deal. Because, and the reason why that's probably really good for the Bucks is, A, you still have Chris Godwin around, who's still a very good receiver when he's healthy. It's just the last season and maybe a few others where he hasn't been as healthy as he could possibly be. You get him for 3 more years for Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans to continue to play with. But you also give him this massive, massive chunk of change. Because again, 44 out of that 66. So you have what, $22 million left over for the rest of that contract spread over 3 years. So you're not even getting that intense or that insane amount of money being thrown around. So again, the Bucks so far, the only team that have really made moves. Now again, Khalil Mack re-signed with the Chargers earlier. There was some other deals that happened a little bit earlier in the day, but yeah, this is so far the only 2 moves we've seen have come from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Again, now officially 11 minutes into it, and again, I wonder if Twitter just kind of crashing on mobile has definitely made things a little bit harder and trickier for people. But yeah, that definitely seems like it would be a reason of why. Son Reddick, yep. Just getting some of the others. Jordan Schultz, little low on that. And so again, we're gonna have a lot of kind of repeat tweets here. But yeah, Jordan Schultz ended up fighting Ian Rappaport a few weeks ago at the Combine. So it's always funny to see that. But definitely a little bit later on the breaking news than, for instance, Ian, who had that pretty much immediately. He was the first guy. Again, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Jordan Schultz. These are all going to be guys. Tom Pelissero, it's going to be big to watch for. But yeah, back to the Bucks star wide receiver Chris Godwin returns to Tampa. Sources say taking less money to stay with Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, and the rest of the gang. He's getting a 3-year, $66 million deal with $45 million guaranteed in a done deal by Troy Danny of CAA, and he left a ton on the table. All right, so that's interesting to say the least. That, people think that he took less in that deal. No, again, like I can kind of agree with that. Yeah, we back. Another edge rusher off the free agency market. Again, this is going to be balancing all of my normal Twitter feed stuff versus pretty much just who I'm actually going to see. But yeah, while we wait here, just send off a few more texts. But yeah, the big news is going to be, obviously we can see here, Sam Darnold. Where is he going to sign? Because that's going to be a massive opening day domino. A new blindside protector for Patrick Mahomes. Former 49ers offensive tackle Jalen Moore has reached an agreement today on a 2-year, $30 million deal, including $24 million fully guaranteed with the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, so Chiefs have themselves a new tackle in Jalen Moore. Now, again, not necessarily a massively expensive deal, but it's one that the Chiefs pretty badly needed. And 2 years, 30 mil for relative that's not a bad contract actually for the Kansas City Chiefs to have. 24 or 21 mil guaranteed. But yeah, so I'd rather have Joe Thuney and draft a left tackle than pay big money for a left tackle with 12 career starts. But yeah, a little bit of an interesting scenario here. Again, you're paying a guy that has a fairly low amount of starts. Yeah, 2 years, essentially $15 million a season. Again, I know that's not necessarily how it's fully going to break down, but yeah, the Chiefs are putting a lot of expectations on that guy. Again, I haven't really heard of Jalen Moore all that much, but we'll have to see exactly. Jalen Moore, a 49er, 27 years old, former 5th-round pick in 2021. Again, only played in the 12 starts, so it's a risk move for the for the Chiefs, but if it ultimately pans out and works out for them, it's not necessarily going to be that bad of a move. We'll ultimately have to see how that one goes. Again, that's putting a lot of trust in a guy that has very minimum starts. Because again, from the Bears fan perspective, Braxton Jones has started a ton more games than Moore, and that's what is the market for it. So we'll just continue to have to see. I'd love a return of Khalil Mack, but for 18 million, I think it was the best for him to return to the Chargers. Yeah, as someone who wanted Khalil Mack back and would have loved to have seen it. All right. Sources: the top center in the free agency is off the board as Falcons center Drew Dalman is heading to the Bears, becoming the NFL's second highest paid center. Dalman gets a 3-year, $42 million with a $28 million guaranteed. All right, so the Bears got their guy in Drew Dalman for they got their center. So Caleb Williams at this point getting all the help. And again, Drew Dalman had been projected to go to the Bears for quite a while. And yeah, the Bears get this one done. $42 million, 28 guaranteed. Yes, sir. That is what we like to see. Drew Dalman, baby, going to the Bears. Oh, yep, Twitter. Twitter's having its issues. Yep, definitely Twitter is not having a fun day so far. But yeah, now we also have Braxton Berrios reach a 1-year agreement with the Texans. That's what, a two mil. That's a very, very solid deal. So, huh. But yeah, no, that is a great deal for the Bears. Again, they make him the second highest paid center. But yeah, this is what Adam Schefter says. Former Falcon center Drew Dalman reached an agreement today on a 3-year, $42 million deal that includes $28 million guaranteed with the Chicago Bears. This deal makes Dalman the NFL's second highest center. Steve Karak of Wiseman negotiated the deal with Bears GM Ryan Poles, who has poured his resources into Chicago's offensive line. Just right now, for the Bears, what is currently happening with the O-line is they are drastically improved. Again, having Dalman there, you have an experienced center who is going to be helping out Caleb Williams. Now, the biggest thing with Drew Dalman is that if you've looked at his production the last couple of years, it has actually gone down a little bit, where he is a really good center, but one of the problems is the amount of games that he's ultimately played over this time. But again, 26 years old, a really solid player, and you just have a guy who you know for a fact is going to be your bookend for the next couple of seasons. Again, a 3-year deal for a 26-year-old is by no means not a bad deal. And again, Bears' new center, Drew Dalman, graded as the 4th best center in the NFL last year by PFF. He has been top 5 at his position each of the last 2 years. Massive upgrade for the offensive line. Yeah. Again, if you get a guy like that and you're grabbing him while he's in the prime time of his career, his prime years, again, only 26 years old, that's younger than I am, a 26-year-old center who graded as the 4th best center last year while only playing, I think, 9 games last season. Again, that's kind of one of the concerns. They only played 9 games last year, so he's got to stay healthy the entire time to make this truly worth it. But you're giving the Bears 4 new, or you're at this point, the Bears have 3 new offensive linemen who are all massive upgrades over what they currently had, and this gives Caleb Williams, without a doubt, the best chance at staying upright and staying protected. And again, this allows you to be incredibly flexible when it comes time for the draft, because you don't have to worry about an offensive lineman necessarily at 10 anymore. You can start to look at things maybe a little bit differently and go, okay, well, we didn't have a tackle, or like, say for instance, the Bears fall in love with Will Campbell, and they're like, if Will Campbell falls to us at 10, that is going to be a perfect scenario, because then we basically have our entire offensive line fixed and sorted. But yeah, now if he isn't there, they don't have to force an offensive tackle pick or an offensive line pick like what we initially had going into this offseason. They have 3 guys that they can realistically rely on and feel really good about. But yeah, no, this is a good deal for the Chicago Bears. Again, they're making him the 2nd highest paid center. Again, you're always going to be paying more in free agency. The Chiefs are signing Elijah Mitchell, worth up to $3.5 million. I'm assuming that's just going to be a 1-year type of deal. But Elijah Moore, $3.5 million to the Chiefs, just making that room just a little bit better. Elijah Moore, or Mitchell, to Chefs. They are making 2 moves so far today. 3.5. Again, when you had the issues at the running back spot like the Chiefs did last year, again, they weren't massive issues, but they were enough to make it so, like, getting an additional offensive lineman is always Or running back is always a great thing. But yeah, no, Chiefs get themselves a guy that can be competitive in that backfield. Now, again, you have Isaiah Pacheco for I think another season. I'm not sure if Kareem Hunt signed a multi-year deal or if he was just a 1 year deal type of rental situation for the Chiefs. I'm not 100% sure. But one thing I do know is it is without a doubt just adding depth to that room. But yeah, the Chicago Bears remade offensive line: Braxton Jones, Joe Thuney, Drew Dalman, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright. That is an offensive line that can actually protect Caleb Williams. Now, again, Braxton Jones, is he the best left tackle in the league? No. Is he a good left tackle in this league? Yes. So, like, this is one of those things where, like, you're just looking at this going, like, yeah, he's an all-pro. He's a Pro Bowler. He's been one of the best centers. He's made a Pro Bowl and knows Ben Johnson's system. Darnell Wright was easily the best offensive lineman on the Bears last year and has been the last 2 years. And you know what? He's played really, really well at that right tackle spot. So this O-line right now is looking a hell of a lot better. Now, again, it's not complete. You still might want to try to find an upgrade for Braxton Jones when it comes to the draft. But yeah, you're definitely going to need to find someone to be the long-term answer for Thuney if he only plays 1 year. Because again, you only have him on a 1 year deal. It's just a rental here at the moment. But it is going to be big, big, big. Drew Dalman is who you need to be pounding the table for your team to sign. Excellent leg drive and footwork, natural mover in space, perfect center for zone run scheme. Bears finally swung for the fences at center. I'm really excited for me too. Me too, Jake. I am as well. But just continuing to look, Barrows, a 1 year deal, 2.5 or 2 million. Yeah, perfect. Drew Rosenhaus, again, second time that we've seen him today. I realize that's, yeah, Twitter is having issues today. It is not been responding well here at the moment. Like, again, there's like pictures not showing up, videos aren't playing. It is getting a little bit rough. Free agent BJ Hill is signing a 3-year deal that includes $16 million guaranteed with the Bengals, so he goes back to the Bengals. BJ Hill to Bengals, 3 years and $33 million. 16 guaranteed. So yeah, Bengals get one of their decent defenders back again. It's not like BJ Hill was anything absurdly special for the Bengals, but when you have a player that can actually play, you definitely want to make sure that you keep that guy around, especially when, you know, your defense was one of the worst in history. But yeah, like that is a move that I am not shocked by. Again, the Bengals potentially trying to trade away Trey Hendrickson, which I think is a massive, massive, massive mistake. But let's see what they continue at, because that team needs defense. The Bengals, they need defensive help. They also need to re-sign T. Higgins to a long-term deal, and also re-sign, for instance, Ja'Marr Chase to a long-term deal. 30 minutes into free agency, we've had 7 deals so far over the first 30 minutes. Not as many as I thought would be. Bijan Robinson averaged 4.99 yards per carry rushing up the A-gap in 2024 with Drew Dalman leading the way. When Bijan Robinson was up the A-gap on Dalman's right side, he had more success running there than any other gap. Big win for the Bears, especially in the run game. I agree. Already knew about the Braxton Berrios. Again, obviously me being a Bears fan, when Bears news kicks off, I will be probably chatting a little bit more knowledgeable about that particular one. But yeah. Not as crazy this morning as I would have anticipated. Again, I don't think this particular free agency class was viewed as anything special. Washington reached an agreement with former 49ers and Jets Javon Kinlaw rejoins Commanders GM Adam Peters after 2 years working together in San Francisco. So we're still waiting on official numbers, but a deal has been reached so far. But once we start to see some numbers in that department, then we will deal with it. But yeah, Twitter servers are having an absolute shit fit here at the moment. Yeah, they are struggling if they can't even play casual videos. But yeah, this is an interesting one again. It's just kind of like a low-level sign, but with how bad the Texans were with wide receivers injuries last year, again, Stephon Diggs got hurt, Tank Dell got hurt. They brought in Christian Kirk, who's going to be a good option. Nico Collins was hurt for a period of time, so this is one of those moves where it's like you just need more actual wide receiver depth, because boy oh boy did the Texans sure seem to struggle when they didn't have any of their guys really out there. Now, you can't really blame the Texans for struggling when 3 of their top guys all went down. All right, so Javon Kinlaw to the Commanders for a 3-year, $45 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. The former first-rounder finds a new home with the Commies, who are likely going to be a team that signs a handful of players this particular set, because they have a shit ton of money, and I would assume that a bunch of players would seemingly like to go play there. Oh, bunch of tweets now. Okay. Go back here. Yeah, we knew about that one. Knew about that one. Just read that one. Yeah, some nothing too crazy, but yeah. Again, going back to that Kinlaw deal, a young defensive tackle who just hasn't necessarily had the most amount of success. Drafted in the first round. He was the 14th pick in 2020. And then just taking a look at some of his stats throughout his career. Again, hasn't been that disruptive defensive tackle that I think San Francisco was hoping to get with the 14th pick. But ultimately, he didn't get re-signed. His best year actually came with the Jets this season. So he made himself some money. And, you know, we know Dan Quinn, defensive-minded guy. So that is going to be a situation for where they get just some more defensive tackle up, and especially getting younger from Jonathan Allen, who they ended up releasing. Yeah, very, very solid deal there for the Commanders. Let's look at BJ Hill here for a second. But yeah, this last season, last couple years. Spent the last 4 seasons with the Bengals. 15 games started, 3 sacks, but again, you're not necessarily looking for defensive tackles to be the most sack generating type players, but overall a decent player for the Bengals to get back. And yeah. Knew that. Did a fantastic job being aggressive, improving their own line. It was the biggest need, and they went all out to make it better. Would imagine a defensive end or defensive tackle next on the radar. Ryan Poles has really opened up the door for pure BPA at number 10 in the draft. Have to agree with that one. But yeah, that move of Drew Dalman just opens up the Bears a ton of what they are going to be capable of doing with that 10th pick. Almost through the first 40 minutes, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 deals. And when looking at it, edge rusher, wide receiver, tackle, center, wide receiver, running back, D tackle. So I would say Drew Dalman is kind of the big name that I think a lot of people expected to go early in this process. And then so far, I would say Dalman is probably, again, the biggest name that has come off the board at this point. But yeah, looking at this, we know T. Higgins was franchise tag. Trey Smith was franchise tag. Javon Holland, he is still out there. Chris Godwin re-signed, so technically he's the highest up. Khalil Mack re-signed with the Chargers. And then seen Ronnie Stanley re-sign. Sam Darnold, waiting for him. Josh Sweat, Stephon Diggs, Hassan Reddick. That's okay. So Hassan Reddick has technically been the highest guy that has moved teams at this point, that has ultimately signed somewhere else. Various Ward is available. Sewell Douglas. I don't think he re-signed one of the Cowboys players. Cameron Byram, Minnesota safety. Milton Williams for the Philadelphia Eagles is still available. Byron Murphy for the Vikings. Malcolm Kuntz. Cam Robinson. Drake Greenlaw. Justin Fields is still available. Zach Baum re-signed with the Eagles. Aaron Jones re-signed with the Vikings. Carlton Davis, the Viking, and Drew Dalman came in at 26. So we'll still have to kind of wait and see for some of the big dogs. Again, T. Higgins franchise tag. So, and I'm just using PFF's top free agency list here. I know some people might view them differently. Some people might have it a little bit different, but nonetheless, it's still a pretty good area to kind of take a look at here for the moment. So, damn it. All right. Still looking to see if any extra moves got kicked off here. That took a long ass time for that picture just to simply get up there. My goodness. Apologies if you can hear the clinking of where I stir my tea. And if you're hanging out, and I'd love to know questions if you're hanging out in the chat and want to pose a question to myself, and I'd happy ask, and what's been your reaction so far through the first 40 minutes of this NFL free agency tampering window. As we just kind of wait here for the moment to see if there's anything else that's going to be popping off here at the moment. And just really waiting for any news. Again, expecting a handful more deals. The Patriots are signing former Raiders linebacker Robert Spillane. Okay, so Robert Spillane going to the Patriots. That's actually a pretty decent move for the Patriots to make. Now, I need to see dollars, I need to see years, but Robert Spillane is actually going to be a pretty sizable loss for the Raiders because he was one of their better defenders, not named Max Crosby or Christian Wilkins. And so that's going to be a really, really interesting thing to see. Again, I need to see dollars and years. But yeah, it's going to be something else. And gonna be interested to see what else happens. I'm hearing there's some news about a quarterback, but I'm not seeing anything dropping here at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see if that actually... But yeah, so essentially the rumor that I've heard here at the moment is that Aaron Rodgers is going to be signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, until I see a bunch of the insiders say that that is something that is happening, then I don't really know. I'm just going to move this over here. Have some of the important tabs right there. Damn it. Okay. Need to stop misclicking everything. The Jags are signing Jordan Lewis, one of the NFL's best nickel corners. Insider Peter Schrager has that to release. But yeah, so the Jags are signing Jordan Lewis. Again, they need secondary help. So that is something that is going to help them out phenomenally. To the Jags. And again, we know they cut one of their secondary guys earlier this week. Again, I still need to see dollars and numbers for some of these guys per years. Again, we still don't even know what Robert Spillane is at. But yeah, so far with these last two moves, again, Jags just continuing to, or starting to try to build that secondary, and the Pats getting a really just solid middle linebacker in Robert Spillane. Like, I'm actually kind of shocked that the Raiders would ultimately allow him to go. Again, if they just simply got outbid for one of their guys, then that's unfortunate, but I want to see dollars and years because Robert Spillane, he is, I think he's 29. Yeah, just taking a look at this here. I know the former undrafted guy. Yeah, he is 29 years old. Played really, really well these last couple of seasons. Again, leading the Raiders in tackles, had a couple of sacks, had a intercept or forced fumble, And yeah, he's just been a solid guy. 3 interceptions in 2023, 2 in 2024. Played for the Steelers, was a really solid guy for them for a handful of years. But yeah, now Robert Spillane making his way to the Patriots. Again, still love to see some of the numbers on that one. Bears might have a good offensive line, and I truly don't know how to exist in this reality. Yep, me too. Me too, buddy. Me too. But yeah, that's a big one. Rams are bringing corner Jimmy Garoppolo back. I think that is supposed to be quarterback, but Jimmy resigns. Jimmy Garoppolo. Rams 1 year. Again, we're still kind of waiting on some of the other deals to ultimately kick off here at this point. And what some of the other numbers are, for instance, because again, we don't know what Jordan Lewis or what Robert Spillane have necessarily gotten here at this point. Jordan Lewis, actually part of the Cowboys unit. But yeah, getting themselves a really solid slot corner or nickel corner from the Jags. Pardon me. Yeah, again, I think corner, I would not trust Jimmy Garoppolo to play corner. Not by any stretch of the imagination. But we will continue to see. Again, the big news that everyone is waiting on is some of the quarterback news. Who is going to get Sam Darnold? Who is going to... it's basically who gets Sam Darnold, and then what else ultimately comes to fruition after that. Who's going to have this person? Who's going to have that person? It's going to be interesting to see. It's annoying that Twitter kind of just starts to break at this point. But yeah, Bears transformed interior offensive line. Tevin Jenkins into Joe Thuney. Then we had Coleman Shelton into Drew Dahlman. Nate Davis / Matt Pryor into Jonah Jackson. Without a doubt, much better things. Thank you for the follow. That particular situation. But yeah, not too many crazy moves. Again, pretty much the latest one is Jimmy Garoppolo, the quarterback, as Ian Rappaport changes up that tweet. Again, we're still kind of waiting on the numbers for Robert Spillane and the years. Don't really know that particularly yet. And same thing with Jordan Lewis. Jesus. That is very much far behind. Nonetheless, but yeah, let's take a little bit bigger look at Jordan Lewis again. 2017 draft, so a little bit of an older guy, but you can have some of the older guys play nickel still at a very high level. Again, you know, nickel's going to be a little bit more of the dirty work, but ultimately Jordan Lewis goes to the Jaguars and they get themselves a decent player there. But yeah, just going back, because I don't even know where Jordan Lewis would ultimately land on this particular list right here. Because again, sometimes you just don't know. We'll have to see who exactly is available. But yeah, this is the 200. So artillery, you're not going to see a lot of these guys signed today. We're just ultimately just seeing some extras. I might as well start from the top. But yeah, we know these two guys aren't there anymore from the franchise tag. We know Holland is going to be a very, very big piece to someone's secondary. Chris Godwin resigns, Mac resigns. We still haven't seen DJ Reed yet. Mark Cooper, Ronnie Stanley, Sam Darnold. This is going to be the big one here. Is when Sam Darnold signs. That is ultimately going to be who is really going to be top dog. Still saying we're live? Or we're still saying we're live? Still seems like we're live. Yeah, okay. We're still live. Okay. For whatever reason, my stream layout is saying something different. Again, Josh Sweat. This is also going to be a big name that we're going to have to see. Stephon Diggs. We saw Hassan Reddick already go to the Buccaneers. Javarius Ward, Rasul Douglas. He re-signed with the Cowboys. But yeah. So a lot of interesting names that are potentially going to come off. Again, we saw Elijah Mitchell also signed with the Chiefs. Again, Jimmy Garoppolo knew about that one, or not that crazy. Byram, Milton Williams, he's probably one of the best interior D linemen that you can get in the free agency. Byron Murphy is a solid player. Malcolm Kuntz. This is a player that I'm really interested to see how he is going to be utilized and how he is ultimately going to play, and how much he's going to get, where he's going to go, because Malcolm Kuntz could be a very low risk. Cheap viewers on streamboo.com, remove the space. Nah, I'm good. As much as I would like viewership to be up, I'm not going to pay for viewers. Thank you very much, kind sir. But yeah, again, continuing to look here, trying to see if any extra deals have been poked and prodded here at this point. But yeah, nothing has changed over these last few minutes. But yeah, Malcolm Kuntz, a Raiders player that I think would be really, really interesting to see where he goes and how he's going to be utilized. Cam Robinson, again, I know he was traded throughout the year to kind of be that replacement for, I'm forgetting Minnesota's tackle, that their main guy. I'm just forgetting his name at the moment. Dre Greenlaw is going to be another interesting player. Where is Justin Fields going to go? Because, again, the dominoes are really going to start to fall because he is, again, he's a top 25 prospect here at this point in free agency. So we'll have to ultimately see where it goes and how it is handled throughout that entire time. But yeah, Zach Baum, we know he resigned. Same thing with Aaron Jones, Carlton Davis third, Drew Dalman, we know he is now with my Chicago Bears. Really, nothing. No news. Okay. Almost getting to that full hour mark. And again, we've had a handful of signings, but nothing. It's only really been the Hassan Reddick and the Drew Dalman signings at this point that have ultimately been what you would say are the big time moves. Because again, everyone else is just kind of like good role players. And so it's going to be interesting to see ultimately what continues to happen. We know Tevin Jenkins is likely going to be on the move. Asante Samuel, Nick Bolton, he re-signed. Kevin Zeitler. This is a big time guard who could be a really, really solid option for just any team looking for like a 1-year rental who is just going to get the job done. I would actually like to see if the Lions are going to be able to re-sign him and bring him back. But we know Twitter is having some issues here today, so have to continue. Mike Hilton from the Bengals. I'm surprised that they would have a Cincinnati corner up that high? DeAndre Hopkins, another option. James Daniels, that's gonna be another decent piece to come off because again, I think he's only 27 the 27-year-old. Tyron Smith, again, he old though. So like that is like a 1 year deal of just like we just need something, please God, something. Steelers are making deals but still have gaps. The Giants are signing Paulson Abdu. But yeah, so to do Jordan Lewis gets a 3-year, 30 million. 3-year, 30 mil and 20 million guaranteed. Do we know what Robert Spillane is here yet? No. So those are just those here for the moment. Again, I'm writing all of this stuff down so I can always just look down. Paulson goes to the Giants. Have to wait on both contract and years. Yeah, taking a look here at some more of the free agents. We know Marquise Brown ended up re-signing with the Chiefs. I think that was yesterday. Juwan Johnson, a really, really solid receiving tight end. Darius Slayton, a really good player. Baron Browning re-signed with the Cardinals for a 2-year deal. Again, I didn't really think he was all that impressive. Again, the Cardinals, they need help at that edge rusher position, and like he's probably their best guy. Like they need to look at some of those guys moving forward. Another solid player, Mekhi Becton. Now it'll be interesting to see where he goes after the year with Philadelphia, because ultimately, if he is someone that can have success with Philly, but you just have to look at all the tape from the Jets days where he just wasn't that good, and you have to wonder if if teams are worried about it's just being him playing with basically all pro talent all around him. This is a guy that I'm interested in, see how he's going to do, but we'll ultimately have to wait and see because I know the Bears do need some extra help here on the edge rusher position. Knew about that. Still waiting on the Robert Spillane. Might as well check some of the Aaron Rodgers stuff. Steelers continue to talk to Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, but Aaron Rodgers has emerged as a quarterback option in Pittsburgh per league source. Yeah. I think that would be a terrible move for Pittsburgh. Absolutely terrible. We'll have to see. So yeah, where's Keenan Allen ultimately going to end up signing? Same thing with Russell Wilson. Bobby Wagner, we know, re-signed. Alaric Jackson re-signed with the Rams. Dan Moore with the Steelers. He is no longer kind of one of their starters as they've drafted 2 tackles in the first round the last couple of seasons. Najee Harris. This is going to be an interesting player to see where he ultimately goes because we definitely saw the running back market get a hell of a lot stronger over this last season. But you have to wonder when it comes to a guy like Najee Harris, who is going to be a suitor for him, and are they going to want to pay him a decent amount of money? The Titans are loading up on the offensive line, agreeing to terms with Steelers Left tackle Dan Moore to a 4-year. Dan Moore, okay. We were just talking about him. More Titans, 82 mil, 50 million guaranteed on a 4-year deal for the left tackle. So again, we know the Titans needed to bolster their offensive line, and they've been trying to work on that the last couple of years, and that's a big move for the Titans. Derek Barnett going back to the Texans for 1 year. Again, Derek Barnett, the former first-round pick of the Eagles. He had that very big play in the Eagles' first Super Bowl against Tom Brady way back in the day. 1 year, $5 million. Yeah, so not a insane or crazy deal for Derek Barnett. But again, going back to the Titans and Dan Moore, that is a position that they very much needed to figure out. And they did. Tackle, center. I haven't been writing down the positions of each of these players, so I'm just doing that now. DT, LB, CB, and QB. All right, now that I've kind of gotten that up to date, still waiting on the numbers for Robert Spillane. Interesting that I haven't actually seen any of those as of yet here for the moment, but things still looking interesting. Again, going back to this top end, we just talked about Dan Moore goes to the Titans. Moore really rounded out his game during his rookie contract and took a step forward in 2024 after consistently struggling in pass protection over the first 3 seasons. With the extension of Jacksonville Jaguars, Walker Little, Moore, and Los Angeles Rams tackle Alaric Jackson stand to benefit as the young potential multi-year solutions at left tackle who are hitting free agency. Yeah, so again, with Dan Moore, we knew, why? Okay, thank you. Just going over to the Steelers. I don't remember how old Dan Moore is. We're going to find out here in a second. But yeah, he lost his job to Broderick Jones. Again, just having that be right there. But yeah, 26 years old, going to the Titans, a former 4th-round pick that ultimately played probably well above where he was expected to be. But yeah, when you have Braxton, or not Braxton Jones, when you have Broderick Jones, thank you. I don't know why my brain couldn't remember that. And he was a 1st-round pick, so you're losing out on that one. Troy Fautanu, another guy that is right there. But yeah, Broderick Jones needs to really step that up again. Pretty much their best lineman was Zach Frazier before he got injured last year, so we're going to have to see how this whole thing ultimately plans out. Nate Herbig. Who am I thinking? Nick Herbig. Yeah, okay, they have 2 Herbigs on that. Okay, that's why I'm slightly confused. I was looking at that going, he's not a center, but turns out different player, different guy. But yeah, this is a big time one for the Titans. They get a player that can go out there. But again, going back to Najee Harris, he's not going to get the money of the Saquon Barkleys or the Josh Jacobs or the Derrick Henry, but it's going to be who is going to want his services for the next couple of years. Again, Najee Harris, very slow off the line. It takes him like 10 yards to finally get moving and get motoring. But once he gets going, that's when he starts to become a little bit of a danger. But he's also that massive body, that massive frame. Has had 1,000 yards every single year since entering the league been a really, really just solid player. I don't think he deserves to get a massive, massive contract, but he definitely get like a $6-7 million per year deal. Probably end up being worth it for the team that gets him. Chase Young, as we're also seeing up here on the list, it's going to be really interesting to see where he goes after being traded to the 49ers and having just kind of like a so-so time with the 49ers. Having like an okay year for Chase Young, but it's probably been his best year since his rookie year with the Saints this last year. So it'll be interesting to see ultimately where he ends up landing. And are we going to get anything right there? I don't know. Get myself some water. And we continue. Cooper Kupp is trending. I'm assuming that is just going to be where is he going to go? Seeing the Rams sign Davante Adams, even though they're cutting him for being too old and expensive. Yeah, that's probably got to cut a little deep on that particular instance. I go for Fields, and first thing it shows is Cooper Flag. It'll be interesting to see what happens here because, again, nothing has really popped off in that market. Got to see where Aaron Rodgers goes. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, Kupp, Mike Tomlin, week 4 into the season with a locker room that consists of DK Metcalf, George Pickens, and Aaron Rodgers. That would be a tough one for sure. Just woke up from a nightmare about the Seahawks signing Aaron Rodgers. I know my good buddy Will, he was basically texting me that all day yesterday. Aaron Rodgers on his way to the Steelers to destroy their chemistry. Yep. Let's see. Any other news here? We knew Dan Moore was opted to return. And yeah, we continue. While we just wait for some news to ultimately trickle in, go back to some of the free agency stuff here. But yeah, I'm interested to see where Chase Young goes, how much he's going to get, because I know on a site like Spot Track, where they do a bunch of the salary cap and they also have like expected signing rates for each guy, they have him as like an $80 million player over 4 years, so that's $20 million a season, which I don't think he should get. Like he's, again, Chase Young, still a young player, and he was with the Saints last year. So as we take a look at Chase Young just a little bit more, again, I think he had like 6 sacks this season, but yeah, Chase Young is one of those. He's not even the starter on their team. Might have been hurt, but yeah, 5.5 sacks this particular season. Probably one of his best years. Actually, year before when he was with Washington, he had 5, and then he had 2.5 with the 49ers when he made his transition over to that side. Didn't really play in 2022. Didn't play a ton in 2021. Actually, less so in 2022. But yeah, his best year was that 7.5. Technically, I mean, he got 7.5 last year, so matching that. But he's going to be an interesting player to see ultimately where he goes. Again, the former 2nd overall pick, he just looked like he was going to be unstoppable entering the league. Okay, we have a bunch of news coming out here now. Patriots are signing Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis, corner, CB, Pats for a 3-year deal, $60 million and 34.5 guaranteed. Okay. Milton Williams is signing with the Panthers. Okay. Not one that I thought I would see today. That's a big time free agent signing with a team that I wouldn't have expected. It's gonna obviously have to wait on contract and years and all that sort of stuff. But we saw that. We saw Carlton Davis. We knew the contract right there. We knew that from Dan Moore. Panthers are working to finalize a deal with Milton Williams per source. Yeah, we knew this one. 3-year deal. But do we know the actual numbers yet? 3 years to go to the Giants. So interesting here. Again, as we can see a little bit more. Yep, that's just being retweeted. Go to some of the top part of this because I know a handful of those guys were at the top of these particular lists. Again, Sweat is still on the board, so we need to see where he's ultimately going to go. We saw that. Haven't seen that. No. Yeah, Milton Williams is already a candidate for a big riser on this list, and his stock only improved down the home stretch. His 6 sacks in the regular season are a career best total. A rotational interior defender with serious pass rush juice is often the profile of a player who does very well in free agency. And Williams has limited tread on the tires, given he has never eclipsed 50% of the defensive snaps played in a season, despite playing at least 36% in every year since his debut, leaving it to the Eagles to get a new deal done. But if not, don't be surprised when Williams makes a splash in free agency. Totally agree. Then I'm just kind of looking at here, where was our other? Carlton Davis. Again, Tampa Bay Buccaneers traded Davis to the Lions in the offseason. He proved to be an immediate and young in that needed it, enduring an unfavorable number of injuries in 2024, most notably to Defensive Player of the Year frontrunner Aiden Hutchinson. Davis too suffered a season-ending injury, a fractured jaw in Week 15. So yeah, again, goes to the Pats. So the Patriots are starting to build this defense out just a little bit more. Again, so we're starting to see some numbers. With Davis, we already knew the 3 years, $60 million, 34.5 guaranteed. But yeah, Pats, they now get a corner, they now get a middle linebacker, making that defensive unit just that little bit stronger. And so far with those two moves, it tells me that they're trying to get that defense a little bit more well-rounded, allowing them and kind of almost forcing them down the path of saying, okay, when we get to the draft, we can go after some offensive linemen to help protect our quarterback in Drake May, because the Patriots had just an absolutely bad offensive line. Now, again, not as bad as a team like Chicago, where, you had to make all those moves, and those have been the only moves the Bears have made so far this off season, which again, I'm perfectly happy with those. Just having to send a quick, but yeah, an hour 15 minutes into day 1 of the tampering period. Obviously, deals are going to come in throughout the day. Gonna have to see what happens. But yeah, Milton Williams finalizing a deal with the Panthers, and Carlton. Okay, so they haven't quite had those numbers posted yet for Milton Williams. Really going to be interested to see how much they gave him, because again, talking about Williams, he was a rotational guy who benefited from a massive, massive unit around him. Like these were the guys that he ultimately had playing around him throughout most of his career. Again, Milton Williams now moves over to the Panthers, but he's playing with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Mom, Kobe Dean, and Josh Sweat. Those were the guys that he ultimately had up in front of him, with, again, Brandon Graham also getting in there and helping out. So it's not like he had no one around him and he was just making all of this up by himself. Like a really solid player that you need to still do stuff, but like you're able to get some decent work. Since PFF started grading players in 2006, the Bears have had one top 5 center in the league, Cody Whitehair, in 2016. Drew Dalman has finished top 5 in each of the last 2 seasons. Again, cool. Good to know. Russell Wilson, haven't really checked out where his stuff has looked at. Continue to talk to Justin Fields and Russell Kett. Yeah, we knew about that one. DK Metcalf to the Steelers is a brilliant move. Most yards in a season of DK with, yep, so again, that is a potential situation that you could see Russell Wilson be back with DK Metcalf. Oh, that was an interesting one. Don't know how to react to that. No, we knew about that one. Knew about that one. So we're essentially just waiting here at the moment. Sometimes talking and texting at the same time is trickier than I want it to be. Yeah, we knew about Dan Moore. Again, that one's right there. People are asking if Twitter is back here at the moment. Might as well get Blue Sky open as well. Yep, if you're watching and you'd like to follow me both on Blue Sky and Twitter. So we can see here. Yeah, I don't think this one's going to be as accurate. Toss this one over there. Oh, there we go. Let's set back to live. That is a late ass update from ESPN on my phone saying, "Oh, they have signed, re-signed Chris Godwin." It's like, thank you. That was over an hour ago, or about an hour ago. Check out some of the latest move. Just get some, okay. There are people that really, yeah. So nothing yet on the Aaron Rodgers front yet. Again, I think we're all waiting for Sam Darnold here at the moment to kind of get things going. Okay, so apparently Twitter has kind of figured their shit out here apparently at the moment. So yeah, we should be getting more updates here on a regular basis. Hopefully. Because yeah, people are saying that we're back. People are saying back on mobile, which allows the insiders to tweet a lot more frequently. People are, yeah, I have no idea what anyone saw or read, but I think we're back. Okay, so we're hopefully having a bunch more news come in here. Dan Moore to play with left tackle. Okay, so reaching agreement with Dan Moore to play left tackle will now allow the Titans to move former first round draft pick JC Latham to right tackle, his natural position. So that's something that they want. Yeah, this one already knew about that one. People are happy that we signed Drew Dalman. As am I. I am also happy that we managed to get Drew Dalman. Again, when you have your biggest need, that is something that's going to be happening. Going back to the free agency, we talked a lot about these guys already. Again, just kind of going down. I think we're in the 50s, but Dan Moore, we saw that. Najee Harris, we talked about that. Chase Young, Justin Reed. That'll be an interesting situation because I'm pretty sure they traded for Justin Reed a few years ago, or he signed a few years ago. Azeez Al-Jalari, that'll be another interesting edge rusher. BJ Hill re-signing with the Bengals today. Calais Campbell, that'll be an interesting move because I'm pretty sure Calais Campbell is closer to 40 than he is to 30 at this point. Harrison Smith, 35 years old. Yeah, nears 40 as I'm talking about that. DeMarcus Lawrence, it will be interesting to see what happens with him. Trevor Mooring with the Raiders, that is a decent young safety that is available for if you need some more safety help. But we'll have to see. Right there. Bears signed Drew Dalman. Yep. Nothing changes. But yeah, this will be like this is a decent young safety prospect. I think former first round pick as well. Actually might have been a second round pick. I can't fully remember with Mooring. I remember he was definitely a first round prospect that was viewed to go in the first round a couple years ago. What it was is that particular year he was drafted, I said the Raiders should draft Mooring in the first round and draft Alex Leatherwood in the second round. And they did the reverse of where it was. They drafted Alex Leatherwood in the first and drafted Mooring in the second. So, yeah. Morgan Moses, a decent tackle. Ernest Jones re-signed with the Seahawks. Brandon Sheriff, another older, experienced offensive guard that a team could just use in to bring in for like a season. J.K. Dobbins from the Chargers. Yeah, we knew that he was being moved on from. Deontay Fowler Jr. with the Commanders. Anyone of real significance here? Jermaine Sherwood re-signed with the Jets. Stephon Gilmore. That's a very, very experienced corner that a team could potentially get. Levante David already re-signed. See if any extra here. 3 more tweets. And no extra news. And just do this. This has the latest. But yeah, do they have the numbers for? Oh, he re-signed with the Rams. Okay, apparently. Must have missed that last night. PFF says that's a good deal. Average, below average deal. Huh. That'll be interesting to see throughout the day how they continue to grade certain moves. Nothing on that front. But yeah, Stephon Gilmore is a really, really solid older corner for a team that needs maybe just kind of like one rotational guy. Justin Simmons, a little bit of an older safety, but again, you can still get good value. This is a guy that I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Jedrick Wills, because again, former first round pick, played really, really well in his rookie season, but then kind of just was okay. Like, I'd be interested to see if someone ends up signing him like a Mekhi Becton, moving him to a guard and seeing how he plays on that one. Could be a guy that battles for a left tackle spot. It'll be really interesting to see what happens there. Matthew Judon, I know his was just like he didn't have that amazing of a year with Atlanta, even after they traded for him. Boy, Atlanta, they need defensive, like they need edge rushing help. But yeah, that's the big one right there. But yeah, Judon was traded to the Falcons after a contract feud with New England. And the new Patriots front office certainly looks sharp for acquiring a third-round pick for a player on decline outside of his injury-shortened 2023 season that played a role in the trade. Judon set career lows almost across the board in 2024 compared to all prior healthy seasons beside his rookie campaign in 2016. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he does in the open market and where he goes. Nothing there. Nothing on Blue Sky. But yeah, I always struggle with players that are looking to get paid decent amount of money when they have struggled on a team. Because again, you look at Matthew Judon, and this is a guy that was brought over to be like the sack leader for the Falcons last season, and he just wasn't that good. And again, the Falcons have had a horrible, horrible edge rushing system or edge rushing tandem for years. Like, they just haven't been good. Like Drew Dalman, again, we knew about that, but Matthew Judon this last season, 5.5 sacks, so a decent number, but you just look at his production throughout most of his career. Again, 2023 injured, but the season before 15.5, then 12.5. So I for a fact that if you were the Atlanta Falcons, you were hoping for this sort of production as opposed to this. Get on that 1-year deal. It kind of makes the Patriots make out like bandits in that sort of scenario. Texans are signing DB Tremon Smith to a 2-year deal worth, okay, that is our latest deal. Tremon Smith, CB. Texans, likely going to be some depth. 2 years, 7.5 mil. Interesting. Okay. Patriots have agreed to Morgan Moses. Okay, so that's a bigger move here. Again, we're talking about a little bit earlier how the Pats needed to potentially look at some offensive linemen. Morgan Moses, the tackle, goes to the Pats. That's their third move of the day so far. 2 defense, 1 offense. $24 million deal worth up to 28. But yeah, the 34-year-old goes to protect Drake Maye. And I wonder if that takes them out of the tackle market from the first. Okay, so Milton Williams and the Panthers are in negotiations, though the deal is not fully agreed to just yet. Multiple teams have been pursuing Williams, trying to get him, though Carolina has been the most aggressive. His market has been hot. So I guess that deal isn't technically done yet. Like, people are saying like it's kind of done, but it's also not done. So we might have to change that little bit of the sheet. We will see. Yeah, Morgan Moses, we were just, I think we actually just kind of saw him here relatively. Going back here, talk a little bit about him. A model of consistency in his 11th year, missing just 2 weeks with a knee injury and logging at least 14 starts for the 10th consecutive season every year since his sophomore campaign when he became a starter. That said, Moses has now played less than 70% of the snaps in consecutive seasons after 8 straight above 90%. Moses offers a high floor as a pass protector, which will keep veteran tackles around in this league for a long time. And again, he goes towards and again, going to the Patriots, that is going to be a big move for them, because again, having someone who's going to be consistent is a big time move for this New England Patriots team, without a doubt. We knew about that one. Davante Adams, yeah, that happened yesterday. People are just talking about NFL's posting some videos of George Pickens and DK. My kind of thoughts on that move is, you have two receivers now that you can properly rely on. They're kind of almost in a similar mold of where DK Metcalf's a little bit more of that just athletic freak, and Pickens is that catch radius type freak, as you can see there on that video. But you don't really have that just insanely crisp route runner for this team. Again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just the question here for the Steelers is, who's going to be throwing these guys the ball? You have two guys that are very hot-headed. DK Metcalf's going to be with the Steelers for 6 years, essentially, because he signed a 5-year extension. Still had the 1 year left on his deal. So he should essentially retire with Pittsburgh here at this point. But yeah, like the biggest thing for the Steelers here is, who is going to be throwing them the football? And can Mike Tomlin keep these guys from not having their egos explode and cause too many problems? Because both guys have had those issues in the past. Don't really need that. But yeah, take a look here. Morgan Moses, again, I think is still a very solid move. We were kind of in the 70s at this point. Yeah, again, another guy here that I don't really necessarily trust to know how well, just because they've been part of a unit that was really bad. It's hard to really give that a lot of hope. Aaron Banks, Jonathan Jones, Jaron Reed, Poona Ford, Mike Gesicki. He ultimately ended up re-signing his contract with the Bengals. Deontay Johnson. I'm really interested to see what he does, because after being traded from the Steelers last year, this dude just had a merry-go-round. Just a merry-go-round of where he ultimately went. Jeremy Chin, Commanders, Elijah Mold, re-signed with the Chargers. Ryan Kelly, like this is a good center. Like, this is a good center that is available for people to sign, and obviously going to be cheaper option than, for instance, Drew Dahlman was earlier. And if you missed that one, Drew Dahlman goes to the Bears for a 3-year, $42 million deal with $28 million fully guaranteed. But yeah, Ryan Kelly is kind of one of those guys, you have him there for a year, maybe two, and then you want to try to get younger at the position. It's going to be interesting to see where Ryan Kelly goes. I don't think this is a day one move, though. Yep, but we already knew about those. Tyler Tyler Conklin. This is kind of an older, more experienced guy. Yeah, like he's definitely your kind of like tight end 2, maybe even a tight end 3 on certain teams and certain systems. I'm going to be really interested to see where Jameis Winston ends up signing this particular offseason. Because again, like he's going to get a job without a doubt. Nate Hobbs, this is another one where I feel like the Raiders kind of really need to keep him after a strong rookie campaign for the pesky slot defender. Hobbs has been forced out of the lineup for a handful of games. In each of the past 3 years, Hobbs has the size to play outside at 6'1", at 195, though it has been asking of him much this far in his career, and he plays the slot role well with a willingness to do the dirty work in the alley. Again, I think the Raiders should ultimately keep Nate Hobbs because their secondary has been pretty bad these last couple years, and you know Pete Carroll will love the 6'1", almost 200 pounds. He loves those large, lengthy safety or corners, and have some of that will definitely make it a little bit better. But all right, DJ Reed, our first big signing in the last couple minutes. This is a big one here. DJ Reed ends up going to the Lions on a 3-year deal. So the Lions get a little bit more experience to have a guy on that secondary and really make that unit super strong. Because again, in this division, the NFC North, you have absolute burners at wide receiver. $48 million and a $32 million guaranteed deal. So the Lions get their guy, or get an additional guy in that room. Because again, let's just take a look here at the Lions secondary. Again, just dealt with so many injuries throughout that time period last year. You're going to have Tryon Arnold, who's going to be a really, really solid guy. He ended up moving, so DJ Reed is the replacement for Davis. But yeah, Brian Branch also going to be a great player. But yeah, having DJ Reed come in and be that is a really, really solid option. I would describe Sam Darnold as the front runner in Seattle right now. Does Aaron Rodgers go to the Steelers or the Giants? Who really knows? But yeah, DJ Reed, phenomenal player. Let's look at what PFF wrote about it. Just making sure I didn't scroll past. He was their 6th. Reed is set to enter free agency after entering his 6th straight season-long 70-plus PFF overall grade. His 71% coverage grade in 2024 ranked 31st among qualifying corners. He excelled in PFF's advanced metrics, boasting a 51.28 lockdown percentage. So basically, every other play, it is a guaranteed lockdown with him. So again, Lions get a really, really solid player. Again, when you have a young secondary like Arnold and Branch, you need to have someone that has that little bit more experience in the NFL and just kind of have a little bit more with that particular situation. So ultimately, really nice, solid deal there for the Lions to just make that secondary a little bit stronger. Bunch of tweets now, so we'll have to ultimately kind of sit back. Saw that one. Former Eagles corner has reached a 2-year, $15 million contract agreement with the Vikings. So Isaiah Rodgers, CB. That says the Vikings. 2 years, 15 and 8 full. All right. So Vikings trying to add some secondary players to the equation as well. Bears needed a center, and they got the best one available while not resetting the market. With the cap rising yearly, I thought he would get more than 14. I don't think Dalman is a top center in the NFL and don't love how scheme dependent he is, but beggars can't be choosers. Good start. We knew about both of those moves. Matt Pratt back with the Broncos. So write that down. 2 years, $7 million. Continuing to see Detroit, DJ Reed tweeting it, making it kind of official. And just continuing here, we saw that DJ Reed signed the 48. Detroit Lions, yeah, we all knew that. So kind of all locked up. And if you're watching and enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe. If you're on YouTube, just simply follow. If you're here on Twitch, because we're doing both of we're streaming live on both YouTube and Twitch, so make sure to like and subscribe to both of those particular channels. Comment in both if you want, and so that we can have a discussion. Who you've been shocked to see that is signed so far here in free agency today, and what your team is and what you're potentially hoping for. I know for me, as a Bears fan, we got my number one player that I wanted, which was Drew Dahlman. The center from the Falcons comes in and is a really, really solid option. So the first day, Detroit, Drew Dahlman, the Bears will be with Drew Dahlman. The Bears will be running a lot of outside zone. The 2025 NFL draft, who are the best suited for this: Ashton Jeanty, Caleb Jones, Travion Henderson, and Rashael Tutton. Again, with this one, I would look at this and go, these two are the guys that I would like to see the Bears ultimately draft if they're going to draft a running back. Now, I know top 10 pick running back, sometimes it might be a little bit of a hard pill to swallow, but in the second round, if you don't end up going with Ashton Jeanty in the first, Caleb Johnson is there. I think Caleb Johnson actually fits Ben Johnson's offense better than Jeanty does. So I'm a massive fan of what I see from Caleb Johnson. But yeah, the Drew Dahlman signing allows the Bears to do that. Matt Bowen, Drew Dahlman to the Bears. Technician, athletic, easy mover, wins with the assignment / leverage. Good fit for the zone run game under Ben Johnson. Registered a pass block win rate of 95.1% in 2024. Chicago's continues to rebuild / upgrade the offensive front. Yes, they do. Taking a look here at kind of where we left off, we were looking right around Jameis Winston, Nate Hobbs. We were talking about Nate Hobbs. We saw him ultimately sign. With the Giants. So that is a decent move for Paulson. Goes from the absolute hellhole that is New Orleans this last couple of seasons to the hellhole that is the Giants. Cisco, Robert Spillane, we saw him sign with the Patriots. We don't actually know the number that he signed with, but yeah, getting a very, very solid middle linebackers, the Patriots. I don't know if we will see him get signed early in this process. Like I wonder if he's even potentially going to be signed at all, just because he's just taken so many bad injuries these last couple of years. Again, the ankle injury this season really, really hurt him. Not necessarily going to be the best look. And again, 32 years old, not necessarily a big one. But yeah, Ashton Jeanty at 10. Yeah, maybe. This could very much be this. Ariante, Ursi, and yeah, both. Like, it would be hard pressed to not be satisfied with that if you're a Chicago Bears fan. Like, just watching that and seeing all three of those guys come in, it would be really, really solid. From my understanding, Chris Godwin left about $20 million on the table. I knew New England was in on him pretty heavily. He clearly liked where he was in Tampa Bay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Again, why would Chris Godwin want to leave the situation that he was in? Because he is ultimately just a very, very solid player. But yeah, taking a look here again, some of the guys again, ugly knee injury, ankle injury. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where Nick Chubb will ultimately land. Since it's been a little bit, might as well respond to some people. Steelers are not trading Justin Fields. He is a free agent. He should be treated as such. Uh, kind of a nothing player. Julian Blackman. Kind of one of those nothing type situation. Again, we're kind of looking at some of the things in order of Twitter working again. Yep. So it appears that Twitter is working again fully at this point. But yeah, we're kind of in this point now where we're seeing a bunch of players that are okay. For instance, we know, for instance, Zach Ertz re-signed. Derek Barnett, he signed earlier today, or re-signed with the Texans. DJ Jones re-signed with the Broncos yesterday. Mike Williams, I'll be interested to see where he ultimately finds some space in the NFL, because again, when he was with the Jets, he was pretty useless, and then when he went to the Steelers, he definitely performed a hell of a lot better, but not by any stretch of the imagination. Coleman Shelton is he's a guy that you can without a doubt use if you're a center needy team. Like, he's not the best, but like if you don't want to trust a rookie center, like he can be a perfectly good stopgap. Christian Fulton, Joshua Palmer, Don Reisner, uh, Elijah Moore. We saw him. Did we see Elijah Moore? Let me look through the notes. Elijah Mitchell. Saw Elijah Mitchell, running back, go to the Chiefs. Isaiah Rodgers. We saw him sign with the Vikings. Terrell Taylor, one of the Bears players. See if any others has popped up here at the moment. If the Bears take Tyler Warren, they would have a dominant 12 personnel offense that would be physical and fun. According to CBS's Jonathan Jones, Drew Dalman turned down more money from other teams. He wanted to be in Chicago. But Jordan Love MVP 69 told me Caleb sucks and nobody ever wants to play with him. Yep. I don't think anything the Bears do this week should impact their draft strategy. With the first pick, they should take the highest graded trench player on the board. I kind of agree with that. I think the trenches is the biggest and most important thing that you can possibly have for the Bears here at the moment. But again, with those three top picks in the first two rounds, you put yourself in a situation of where if no one in the trenches are guys that you particularly like, you can take a guy like Ashton Jeanty. Without a doubt, you can. But this also allows you to do the trade back option. For instance, let's just say that you want to move back a few spots. I'm trying to remember who would be behind the Bears at this particular moment, but it doesn't really matter. But you can trade back. You can do a lot of very, very different things. Yeah, we've already seen all those moves, kind of got that tracked. Yeah, back. Brandon Graham, I'm pretty sure at this point he's probably just gonna retire. Landon Roberts, yeah. Matt Pryor. Again, this is kind of like a good stopgap rotational guard for anyone. I wouldn't be upset to see the Bears bring back Matt Pryor to have some security at that particular guard position. He was one of the better guards for Chicago. Or he was one of the better offensive linemen for Chicago this last season. But yeah, pretty much any guy that you see at this point, it's you're kind of getting what you're getting. You're not necessarily going to be finding a superstar at this point in the down the free agent path, but yeah, going back to what Daniel Jeremiah was saying, if the Bears take Tyler Warren, like again, having Cole Kmet is good, but Tyler Warren is just a different type of animal here at the moment. That would be really, really fun, interesting to see how that's going to happen. This is one of the worst overpays I have ever seen. Put into emphasis how hard it is to even find average offensive tackles in this league. Yeah. Do I think Dan Moore was probably overpaid for that? Yeah. $82 million is big for a guy that struggled in his first 3 years for pass blocking. No doubt about that. But again, you're always going to overpay in free agency. That's just the thing. You're always overpaying in free agency. Yeah, we knew about this move. Special teamer, not a crazy move. Again, oh, handful stuff coming up here is, yep, nothing extra popped off at that point. The Seahawks have done nothing. Things so far. Almost 2 hours into the stream at this point. Thank you all for hanging out with us or hanging out with me here today for this particular stream for day number 1. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Remember to like and subscribe if you're on the YouTube, and give us a follow if you're here on Twitch. Comment, and I'd love to know some of your guys' thoughts on some of how day number 1 of free agency has gone so far. Some players that you would like to see your team ultimately try to go out and acquire. And yeah, Caleb Williams is trending, so whenever the QB is taking it, Justin Fields seeing Caleb Williams get one of the most talented offensive lines in the league in year 2. I don't know if I would classify the Bears with the moves that they've made saying that's one of the most talented offensive lines in the league. It's definitely an improvement. It is a hell of a lot better. Only 25 more Sundays until we get to watch Caleb Williams play football again. Yep. Some good old love and hate sent toward the Packers. I can always condone those sort of actions. Cubs, who's playing? Shota Imanaga gets his start. Matt Schott third, designated hitter. Turner, Workman. So not a lot of guys for that one. Again, this is my own personal Twitter, so you'll see a handful of that. Follow me here if you want to get my thoughts and updates. But yeah, at Donald Brendan on Twitter if you want to give me a follow. I don't tweet an insane amount. I like a lot of stuff, retweet a bunch of stuff, but nonetheless, yeah. like we know there's big deals still out there. Because again, looking at the list, off the market, off the market, this is a big time player. Like he's a really, really good safety. Off the market, off the market, off the market, still on the market, off the market, still. But like this is the domino right here. When this move happens, I think you're gonna start to see a lot more of the quarterback moves being ultimately made. Because he, like, again, teams like the Steelers, teams like the Jets, Seahawks, I guess the Raiders aren't necessarily in on a quarterback here at this moment anymore with Geno Smith, but like this is a big one. It's going to be interesting to see how that ultimately goes. Josh Sweat, this is also another big time potential move for whatever team gets him because again, he's a really, really solid edge rusher. And I was actually interested to see who was going to be the guy that signed first, Milton Williams, or was it going to be Josh Sweat? And Milton Williams, I guess, technically hasn't signed, but he's in strong negotiations with the Panthers here for the moment. So that is something where you can sit back and go, okay, like that is a really solid move. Our one definitely having more. Okay, so yeah, Milton Williams in talk with Carolina or with Cardinals, Panthers, and Vikings. So that isn't actually confirmed yet. So people might have jumped the gun a little bit on that particular instance right there. Continuing to see exactly what is going to happen. Ryan Poles, what he is trending again, signing that, showing some appreciation. So far, it's just the one free agent so far for the Bears. Again, taking a look at all of the free agent signings so far here today. We had the first one being Haason Reddick to the Buccaneers for a 1 year, $14 million deal, $12 million guaranteed. Chris Godwin re-signs with the Buccaneers, staying with the Bucs on a lower offer, but gets $66 million. 44 of that $66 million is fully guaranteed over 3 years. Jalen Moore to the Chiefs as a left tackle. Former 49ers player goes over there, 2 years, $30 million, $21 million guaranteed. Drew Dalman to the Bears, 3 years, $42 million, 28 of that guaranteed. Brax Berrios, the 1 year deal to go to the Texans for $2 million. Elijah Mitchell to the Chiefs. The running back goes from the 49ers to there for $3.5 million. BJ Hill stays with the Bengals, 3 years, $33 million, 16 guaranteed. Javon Kinlaw to the Commanders, $45 million and $30 million guaranteed. The D tackle Robert Spillane, we don't know the number of that yet, but he is going over to the Patriots on. Again, don't know the number and don't know the year here at this point, so they're probably still trying to finalize a bunch of stuff there. Jordan Lewis to the Jags, the corner, goes for 3 years at $30 million and $20 million guaranteed. Jimmy Garoppolo, the quarterback, stays with the Rams, 14 for a year. Paulson Abdul goes to the Giants on a 3-year deal. And then we have Dan Moore to the Titans. That is probably the highest made contract so far here today. That is $82.50 guaranteed, 4 years, left tackle. He goes to the Titans. Then we have Carlton Davis, the corner, goes to the Patriots on a 3-year, $60 million deal with $34.5 million guaranteed. Milton Williams, we thought he was signing with the Panthers, but that is still up in limbo. Traymon Smith, the corner, goes to the Texans on a 2-year, $7.5 million deal. Morgan Moses goes to the Patriots on a 3-year, $24 million deal. DJ Reed, another big signing, ultimately kind of replacing Carlton Davis for the Lions because he signs a 3-year, $48 million deal, $32 million guaranteed. Isaiah Rodgers, the corner, goes to the Vikings on a 2-year, $15 million deal that has $8 million guaranteed. And Matt Pratt of the Broncos re-signs on a 2-year, $7 million deal. So those are what we've had so far throughout the first 2 hours of free agency. The last 30 minutes or so have been fairly quiet, but ultimately expect to have a bunch more moves throughout the day. Since Robert Garza retired, the only centers the Bears have signed in free agency were to 1-year contracts: Coleman Shelton, Ted Larson, Will Montgomery, and Brian De La Puta. Today, Drew Dahlman with the 3-year, $42 million deal changes that. Indeed. Any sort of move there doesn't appear to be. Don't really need that on. Hashtag Twitter is down in Canada. It's been kind of down all over the place, it seems. When you think Twitter's down, but you can't go on Twitter to see if Twitter is trending or Twitter down is trending. Yeah, catch 22. Seeing that sort of situation. Any extra news? A few pieces here. Okay. Yesterday I was unknown. Today I'm not. Some boxing news there for you folks. And we continue to just kind of wait on the news. Again, it feels like we're kind of getting into some of the dead period here because there just has not been anything over hour. Like, there's been stuff over hour 2, just not a ton. We'll ultimately have to see. I'm hearing the Rams are closing in on adding Coleman Shelton, who started 17 games for Chicago in 2024. Shelton spent his first 5 years of his career with Los Angeles. That would be a nice little reunion. Again, we talked about Coleman Shelton being a guy that's a really, really solid kind of stopgap for a season. So if he goes there, that could be an interesting deal. Need to see it, but excuse me as I hiccup. Where were you during the 2025 Twitter crash on the opening day of the NFL free agency? I'm right here doing this. Yeah, the Twitter is just having an absolute shit fit today. Panthers are signing again. We've just been kind of talking about how we haven't had too many signings over this hour number 2 as we are now going into hour 3. Trevor Moehrig goes to the Panthers. That is a big time secondary get for this Panthers team, who ended up re-signing their top corner in J.C. Horn earlier today, or extending him. And he goes to the Panthers. Again, we're still waiting on Milton Williams to see if he actually signs with them, but 3-year deal, $51 million, and do they say how much is guaranteed? They don't. I'm sure that will come in over time. But yeah, the first safety domino isn't Trevon Holland, but it's actually Trevor Mooring. That's an interesting thing. But yeah, Mooring does not get re-signed by the Raiders. Again, some of their defensive players that they probably didn't want to lose, they're starting to lose. Again, losing Robert Spillane earlier today to the Patriots. Now losing Mooring. You're going to have to see what happens with Malcolm Kuntz as well throughout the day, because that's another guy that could be a potential big loss for them. Olin Kreutz approves of the... Everyone thinks Sam Darnold is going to the Seahawks, but it is definitely not done. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't get done, though. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. I don't... Yeah, Olin Kreutz, one of the Bears' best players on offensive line, at least in my lifetime, very much likes the move of Drew Dalman. Again, the best center in Bears history, liking this move and pickup, especially when the Bears haven't had a center since Olin Kreutz. Gonna continue to have to see a bunch of the moves. But yeah, Holland still on the board, one of the top safeties. Again, we're just going to have to find Mooring here again. I don't think he was terribly far down the list, maybe in the 50s. But yeah, he is the first safety to come off the board, and a very, very talented player. I know we were talking about him a little bit earlier. Continue to scroll. He's actually not. Yeah, Mooring had 5 interceptions and 18 pass deflections over the past 2 seasons. He has shown considerable growth when coming forward to make plays, with 3 sacks and 5 QB hits over that span. Since 2023, Mooring is a top 15 safety in interceptions, forced incompletion rates, tackles for loss, and no gains on defensive stops. So like he's a solid player that the Panthers ultimately were able to pick up for a relatively good deal. 3 years, 51. What would that be? Of course, math being my strong suit. 51 divided by 3. 17 a year. Okay. So a decent chunk of change for a young guy. But again, that's still not a bad deal. Again, I think he's only, what, 25, 26? Take a look at him here. Mooring, right there. 25 years old. I think he'll be 26 when the season starts. That's what, June 16th? So yeah, 26 when the season starts. Again, the former second-round pick. Been fairly solid. Couple of fumble recoveries, 2 interceptions this last season. Had 3 the year prior to. So again, like, this is a dude that can get the ball. Yeah, it's had 3 sacks over the last couple of years. Had a monster increase in his tackles this season alone, with 104 total, 64 solo. But yeah, really, really good year for him in that department. And the Panthers build that young secondary out. Again, just taking a look here at the Carolina Panthers secondary, if this will allow me to do this. Sometimes the ESPN does a really good job at allowing it, and sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, JC having JC Horn re-signed is a really good one, but then having Mooring play the safety spot, that makes that secondary unit a little bit better. And with this Panthers team, they definitely need some more help in that secondary. Most of the NFL teams have Pro Bowlers at center positions. Most of the top NFL teams have Pro Bowlers at the center position. Chiefs with Creed Humphrey, Ravens with Tyler Lindenbaum, Eagles with Cam Jurgens, Lions with Frank Ragnow, Bills with Connor McGovern, and New Bears center Drew Dahlman graded higher than two of these Pro Bowlers in 2025. It's obviously going to be interesting to see what happens. The Patriots are taking a big defender off the market as he lands. So initially he was being talked about landing with the Panthers. Now he lands with the Patriots. Williams is getting $26 million per year. Dallas, I'm not gonna write down a long snapper move. That is not something I could care about. But yeah, initially looking like he was gonna sign with the Panthers, now signs with the Pats. So we'll have to wait for all of those deals to get done. So again, the Patriots today have ultimately gone out there and signed. They signed Robert Spillane, linebacker. Good move, bringing him in. They were able to get Carlton Davis in the corner, and now Milton Williams goes to them after originally being reported that he could be signing with the Panthers. But yeah, again, we know with Mike Vrabel, defensive-minded coach, needs to have some of those defensive players come in. And so yeah, they also got Morgan Moses as well. So this is the third defender really transforming that unit and trying to get that to be a lot more well-rounded. And with Milton Williams going in there, he can be the team's leader on that defensive line. Now, again, one thing we did talk about with him earlier is him playing with basically nothing but elite talent at the with the Eagles when he was playing as a defensive end slash interior defensive lineman. And he's never eclipsed playing more than 50% of the snaps in most of his games. So this is going to be interesting to see if he can take that role of being a guy that was in a really, really good rotation to someone who is now going to be the main focal point of your defensive line. That's going to be a big thing. And holy crap, we had 14 tweets all pop off at once. Yeah, so we knew that he signed with the Patriots and he was able to sneak them away. Panthers get that deal done. Still waiting to see the numbers. So gets 26 per year. Yeah, we knew that. 26 per year. Signed with the Patriots. Bears still have yet to make an additional move past the center of Drew Dahlman, but we'll see how that continues to play out. But for the moment, I'm going to quickly run to the bathroom. All right, I am back. Let's see if any other moves have happened since. All right. Yeah, we knew about that one. The Bears, on paper, I think this is the best Bears offensive line since the 2006 NFC Championship game. We knew about that deal. 26 per year. I want to know the full detail on that one. Have the yeah. No. Bears landed the top head coaching candidate, top center candidate of the offseason. Pretty good additions for the team desired. Needs more leadership, football IQ, organization, stability. Let's who can go. All right. Yeah. Ugh. Just continuing to see some of the other moves. Had like a short span there where everything kind of kicks off, and that's kind of what's gonna happen throughout a bunch of this process. Throughout today, I would say is you're gonna have like a good stretch of time where just nothing happens to the point of where a bunch of stuff happens all at once. All right. Hopefully that fizziness doesn't sound too loud. Just pouring it relatively close to the mic. Good buddy Will, Hawks fan, texting me questions about yeah, what the hell the Hawks have been trying to do this particular day of free agency, where they have made essentially no moves thus far. Still waiting to see the number for Williams. Poona Ford, the tackle. Poona Ford, the D tackle, signs with the Rams, going from the Chargers to the Rams on a 3-year deal worth $30 million, so 10 a season. Not bad. Again, having Brandon Fisk, Jared Verse, adding some more talent to that room be really good for the Rams to have. Let's take a look at Poona Ford. Again, he's been around the league for a lot of years. If I had to remember, I think he's 32, 29 years old. Had his 7th season. Played most of it with Seattle. Actually had himself probably one of his best seasons. 39 tackles, 24 solo, 15 assists, 3 sacks. He had the 1 interception, so that's not necessarily a bad thing to have from a defensive line perspective. But yeah, no, this is just a solid move for him, going to a team where he's going to be able to help out some young guys in both Brandon Fisk, and then while also having Jared Verse also being a fairly solid player, and that defense gets a little bit more experience because again the Rams have definitely over the last few years tried to get younger at the position as opposed to older. But this is one of those moves where you just have overall just a really, really solid player. All right. But yeah, Drew Dalman took less money to play under Ben Johnson with the Bears. 26-year-old. Yeah, sweet. Yep, Poona Ford. We knew about that one. That's Poona Ford. Nick Mullins. The Jags have signed him to a 2-year deal. I'm not gonna write that down. That is just without a doubt backup conversations. Another big time D tackle hits the market as the Steelers have released Larry Ogunjobi. Ryan Poles could do the funniest thing ever. That would be interesting if they were to do that. I don't think that's gonna happen, but it would be funny to see that potentially happen. Let's continue to wait to see a little bit more. Almost at the 2.5 hour mark of the free agent tampering window. Again, none of these deals can officially be signed until Wednesday. But the odds and the amount of time that you see a player say, I'm going to sign with this particular team and then not sign with that team is very, very low. I think I've only seen it happen maybe once or twice where a player ends up changing his mind during this tampering window. If you are on YouTube watching and you are enjoying this, thank you for hanging out with us here. But make sure to, like the video and check out all of the other videos that we do here on the channel. And if you are on Twitch, make sure to, give us a follow and hang out with us on there as well. Whenever we do live streams, I know we like to try to do it on both YouTube and Twitter. I think we do actually have some numbers, but I'm seeing some Sam Darnold breaking news. The Seahawks have their new QB. Okay. Seahawks and Sam Darnold. QB goes to the Vikings. 3 years, $100 million. Jesus. Anything else there? But yeah, breaking news. He goes 110.5. Okay. 110.5 million on the 3-year deal. Big time move. Okay. That is the first massive domino off the board in terms of the quarterback. We've been waiting for this deal to get done all day long, and finally it happens. But yeah, the Seahawks, after trading away Geno Smith, quickly became the favorites for Sam Darnold. And they ultimately get him. I thought I saw what Williams got. I thought I saw it, but maybe numbers hadn't quite reached me. Because I'm still waiting to write down the official numbers for Milton Williams, exactly what he got from the Patriots. Continue with this one. Former Viking Johnny Mundit to Jacksonville, 2 years, $5.5 million. Okay. Reunites with Clint Kubiak, we previously had worked with in San Francisco. Geno Smith turned down a similar deal in Seattle. The Seahawks ended up trading him to Las Vegas, picked up a third-round pick, and now landed the top QB in free agency, a new number 14 in Seattle. You win some, you lose some. Apologies again for jumping the gun on DK. Interesting. Oh. Yeah, so now that this has ultimately come off the board, we should quickly see who is going to sign Justin Fields, who is going to sign Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. We should see these moves start to go off the board a little bit quicker. Yeah, where did I see that Milton Williams stuff? Because I thought I saw actual numbers for him. uh Blown away. I thought I may have seen some of it. Yeah, just 26 million per year. Sam Darnold found a new home. Might as well allow this to go. Again, make some pretty solid plays this year for the Minnesota Vikings. But the biggest difference for Sam Darnold is this is the team that he ultimately left, the one that I'm pulling up. And this was the offense that he had around him. He had Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, all for his weapons. Very, very good set of weapons for Sam Darnold. Also having Kevin O'Connell, who's one of the smartest offensive minds in football right now. Like that is a big thing. And now this is the team that he is going to. Stays in the conference, but he now goes into a situation where he has Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, who are both very solid running backs, but now he only has Jackson Smith-Njigba, Noah Fant to throw the ball to. Again, everyone else in terms of the wide receivers isn't necessarily anything special. He has an okay offensive line. So, and Kubiak will need to see if he can take that next step as a play caller, but that is an interesting move. $55 million guaranteed and $37.5 million in year one. As everything is kicking off. As I just furiously answer a handful of moves. Seahawk. Gotta make sure to remember to take a look at that whenever things go. But yeah, so this is saying Eric Murray, 3 years, 22.5 with the Jags. Cool. Don't necessarily know who that particular person is, but we will see. Yeah, we knew that. Darius Slay is signing with the Steelers. Okay. That's actually a really good move by the Steelers. Again, having that older veteran comes in really, really solid. That's a move I like. That's something that if you're a Steelers fan, I'm pretty sure you could get behind. But yeah, Drew Dalman took less money to come play for the Bears. Drew Dalman wanted to play with Caleb Williams under Ben Johnson. Just signed Darius. Darius Slay becoming a Steeler again. Guy who had played fairly well over these last couple years. Goes to the Steelers, not necessarily to be the number one guy, but just to be a nice piece. Jags are making another key addition on the back end, agreeing to terms with Texans safety Eric Murray. Again, we kind of saw that a little bit earlier. Not necessarily a groundbreaking move. But still a decent one nonetheless. Again, when we talk about the Jags, they have needed corner help or just secondary help as much as possible because pretty much ever since they traded away why am I forgetting his name? Doesn't really matter, but it should matter. It's bugging me that Jalen Ramsey, God, brain fart. But yeah, ever since the Jags traded away Jalen Ramsey all those years ago, they've been kind of just struggling on the back end. Now they have a new safety. They have a new corner, which is gonna be good. So they're bringing in some players at least at the moment. But yeah, good for Sam Darnold. Again, we were kind of waiting on that one all day long at this point. Just going, okay, when is Sam Darnold ultimately going to sign? And it comes in hour number 3 of free agency. So it wasn't an immediate signing. And obviously there needed to be a little bit more negotiation time between the two sides to ultimately try to find a way to get that deal done. But ultimately they do. So now, going back to the top of the board, off the market, still on the market. So a really talented safety who's young, still out there, off the market, off the market, off the market. Older veteran receiver, still on the market, re-signed with the Ravens. Now he is officially a Seattle Seahawk. The debate surrounding Sam Darnold in 2025 offseason will likely focus on whether he can become more than just a bridge quarterback. While his raw regular season stats were impressive, 35 touchdowns and just 12 interceptions, his performance in key areas was more mixed, with 33 big-time throws balanced by 24 turnover-worthy plays. And big thing with Sam Darnold was just the last couple of games. Like those final 2 games of the season, obviously the final game of the regular season and then the playoff game, he just didn't really play that well. He lost himself some money. And with this, if you're Sam Darnold, you're looking at this going like, yeah, I go to a situation where I don't think the pressure is going to be as high on him to win, especially with some of the moves that the Seahawks have ultimately made. But yeah, let's take a look at Darius Slay and the Steelers room that he is going to be entering. Again, Darius Slay, that is a big time piece entering there. And in the secondary, again, Joey Porter Jr. has pretty much become the de facto number 1 guy for the Steelers, and now Darius Slay gets to go on the other side. That's a really, really solid corner room, and I don't know if Dante Jackson is still going to be around, and I don't know if Cameron Sutton is also going to be on long-term deal. So both those guys might ultimately end up being replaced. We'll have to see, but still, very, very good move there. I wonder if they've actually updated this. No, not quite yet on that one. But yeah, Darius Slay going to the Steelers, really, really solid move. In talks with the Steelers, Pennsylvania swap, 6-time Pro Bowler Darius Slay in talks with the Steelers about a potential deal per source. Slay hasn't officially been released by the Eagles and no deal is done, but there is mutual interest. Okay, so it hasn't officially been signed, or at least from Tom Pelissero is saying it's not officially done, but it could be. But yeah, obviously biggest domino of the day, quarterback position, Sam Darnold. The Jets are signing QB Justin Fields as Gang Green gets a new starter. Fields says goodbye to Pittsburgh after 1 year. He is getting a 2-year deal worth $40 million with $30 million guaranteed. Justin Fields to the Jets. Okay. Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And we knew that this was not going to take a long amount of time for then, after the Sam Darnold news, to come down. Where would the next top guy in Justin Fields? But yeah, Justin Fields going to the Jets, moving on from the Steelers. This is going to be a big question of who the Steelers are now going to sign as their quarterback of the future. But this is the team that Justin Fields is going to be walking into. Again, we know you have a really good weapon in Garrett Wilson. Allen Lazard is serviceable. You have Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, who are both really good running backs. Breece Hall particularly. You have an okay offensive line. Olu Fashanu is definitely going to take up that starting left tackle role. You can definitely get better in that one, but this is a really solid signing for the Jets. They get a young guy in Justin Fields who's going to be the starter guaranteed this season. Fields says goodbye to Pittsburgh. Yeah, okay, already kind of read that, but yeah, this is 2 years, $40 million. So Justin Fields is gonna get $20 million a season. Yeah, the Steelers. It's gonna be really interesting to see where the Steelers go here with their quarterback situation. It's funny that the Jets talked about Justin Fields a few years back when they drafted Zach Wilson, ultimately electing to go with Zach Wilson as opposed to Justin Fields. And man, they finally get Fields after years, and having the last 2 years of Aaron Rodgers. I guess technically only the 1 year of Aaron Rodgers, but Justin Fields gets the starting job. He gets away from Arthur Smith, and let's see how he does in the Big Apple. Again, QB dominoes are starting to fall, people. That's Yep, he was correct on that one. I hope Justin Field gets the opportunity to shine with the Jets. Plenty of work that needs to be done around him, but the roster isn't devoid of talent. At very least, it's a good payday of $20 million a year for the former Bears QB. Indeed. So yeah, in hour 3, not as many signings or moves, but obviously the more impactful big time news and stories without a doubt. The reunion with Garrett Wilson again. Those two played with each other back at Ohio State. Bears host the Jets in 2026. So is he still going to be the starter in 2026? We will have to find out and see. But yeah, looking here, first massive domino in Sam Darnold, and then we continue to go down, and where we can see Justin Fields was that second option, and now who's going to be the third quarterback option on at least PFF's radar here at the moment? I think it's Russell Wilson. It is indeed Russell Wilson. So it's going to be interesting to see where he ultimately goes. Then who's going to be the next quarterback on this particular list? Just kind of scrolling through this fast here. Goes from 2 in the top 25 to then 3 in the top 50. I haven't seen another since. That doesn't terribly shock me. James Winston is still available at this point. Aaron Rodgers is out there in the ether, so we'll see what happens with him. Can buy him to the Colts for a 4-year, $60 million contract. We are going to have to take a look at that one for sure. as I just respond to. What is this then? Get that. Oh, right there. Thank you. Just have to mess with the friends. Just a little bit. But yeah, talking about Cam Byam, former Vikings safety, now going over to the Colts. And the Colts, they need defense unbelievably badly. Unbelievably badly. And they get themselves a new starter, Cameron Byam. 3 interceptions this last year, going from the former 4th round pick of the Vikings. Taking a look at some of the stats here. 2 fumble recoveries, but in 2023 he had 3 forced fumbles, so that's pretty decent. 5 interceptions over the last 2 seasons. Has been fairly steady, having 8 over his first 4 years. So again, Colts, who have been devoid of talent in their defense, probably pay a little bit more than you would hope. But you're going to get yourself a really, really solid safety. You're getting yourself a really, really solid player here. And again, when we looked at Byam, I don't remember exactly where he is on the list, but I know he was definitely closer around that like 75 range. But let's just take a look here and scroll through and allow, the NFL to have a few more moves that we don't necessarily need to look at this exact second. And just trying to find them here. But yeah, that's 2 safeties off the board where Jevon Holland still remains, and he, without a doubt, better than both Moehrig and Byam. But nonetheless, we'll just get a little bit of a peek here at him when we eventually find him on this one. Again, I wish I would have remembered all 200 numbers for the players. Jeremy Chin still on there. I feel like we're getting close to him. Nate Hobbs, someone that we've talked about. Robert Spillane. Where is he? Coleman Shelton likely going to be returning to the Rams from what we saw a little bit earlier in that news cycle. Can't find him here at the moment. We will continue to look there in a little bit. There are some signings here. Deo is signing with the Bears. One of the NFL's premier interior defenders cashes in. Big fish coming in for the Bears. Okay, so the Bears, big fish coming in. 3-year contract for a defensive end from the Colts. He's got great size at 6'6", 286 pounds, and is a perfect fit in the Dennis Allen offense. Deo comes in. I have no idea how to pronounce that last name, but $16 million per year with $32 million fully guaranteed. 3-year deal, $48 million contract. That's not terrible. This deal is expected to be 3 years, 48 to Chicago. And so, yeah, then really just feeling meh on this signing. Could have gotten a lot better value elsewhere. Oh well, Bears defensive line got better at least. Yes, indeed. I have to watch though. But everything I've read hasn't been too kind. Yeah, that's kind of same thing that I've seen. But since we're talking about the Colts defense, and where the hell? Oh, he was a third stringer. Cool. But yeah, Sass, former second round pick from Indy, a couple years ago. He had 8 sacks in 2023 and 5 in 2022. Again, that's 6'6", 286 pounds. Only 25 years old, so he still has some room to grow and develop, hopefully. But again, this year, a little bit less production, but you just got to hope him going alongside Montez Sweat is something that is going to help him out immensely. But yeah, this is yeah. Don't really got much to say. Last time that the Bears kind of signed a Colts defensive end. Let's hope DA is able to develop him. Let's hope Dennis Allen can get the most out of him. Again, $48 million total for 3 years. It's not terrible. But yeah, 3-year deal, 48 million, 16 per year with 32 fully guaranteed. So it's almost a full kind of contract deal. Oh, no, I want that. Fields got 2 years. You know what? I'm kind of interested to see what his draft day report was, actually. Let's do some scouting reports on him. Going back to the NFL draft, because like you can get a decent idea of what the player is. Because again, the Colts, they didn't have that great of a defense. Odangbo, Deo pronounced Odangbo, whose parents were okay. Zerline actually compared to Montez Sweat, funny enough. Third form, there was already a runway required to blend a similar Odangbo, but the process might be extended further following his January injury. Odangbo is an eyes open project with raw physical traits and definitive flashes on the field that might make it easier to assume his ceiling as a pro. He rushes with a combative demeanor, but his unfocused hands work will need tweaked and polished. Once healthy, the 3-year starter could step up and quickly as a rotational defender, but he might need to improve his overall strength in the weight room so he can stay off the ground and become more consistent run defender. Odangbo will require patience, but his length and activity level should make him a bona fide niche once his skill level and fundamentals catch up. He has a future starting potential in even or odd fronts. So his tape is a lot like Chandler Jones when he came out of Syracuse. They are unfinished but really flashed. Okay. Being compared to Montez Sweat and Chandler Jones, I'm not going to be too terribly upset. But again, this is one of those things where the Bears needed defensive end help, and they got defensive end help. This is a guy that, again, just looking at him, didn't have the insane numbers that you would have liked to see from him this last season, but didn't really have a ton of help with him on that side of the ball. Only had the 3 sacks last year. Where would that have put him on the defensive side of the ball? Again, a team that was led by 5.5, so it would have had him actually be relatively opponent. But this is one of those moves. If you are the Chicago Bears, I think you really, really gotta hope that Dennis Allen can ultimately develop him. But yeah, Steelers release Larry Ogunjobi. But yeah, it's a 3-year contract for the defensive end from the Colts. He's got a great size, so we've already read that. They're just reading some stuff here. My excitement level after the Drew Dalman signing has gone down significantly after that last move. Yep, I can kind of agree with that one. My Sovereign Blur on Deo. Verdict: I will be sweet and short. Odangbo is a poster child buyer beware candidate in this free agent class. Betting on a player to become a much better NFL player than they were in college is a risky a gamble. Hoping a player becomes much better version of themselves in year 5 of an NFL career is downright losing proposition. At some point, we need to just accept some players who they are. Odangbo is not a bad player by any means. However, he is not the needle-moving pass rusher the Bears desperately needed, and ultimately not worth the projected price tag. I am steering clear if I am Chicago. Unfortunately, that is not what happened here, as the Bears ultimately do get him signed to this deal. But yeah, this is one of those ones where it's hard to feel like it was a win, and it's hard to feel like it's a loss, because you do need to upgrade that defensive end spot. But yeah, 42 pressures, 3 sacks. DeMarcus Walker. Again, yeah, it's not much different. So yeah, it's a move that is hard to love. But yeah, this is one of those moves where Dennis Allen needs to go out there and get that guy to as much as he possibly can. And I still think the Bears need to draft a defensive lineman with one of their first 2 or with one of their first 3 picks. But yeah, Garrett Wilson seems to like his new quarterback coming in. Again, those 2 guys played with each other at Ohio State, so that isn't a shock by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, we are now going to be entering our number 4 of this free agency period. And again, in our number 2, really the biggest moves that ultimately happened were the Sam Darnold and the Justin Fields moves. And again, Deo Odangbo. I'm just reading off of what this says. Pronounced Odangbo. Okay. It's going to be interesting to kind of see, again, still looking at this Vanderbilt. What did they kind of have from him in this particular class? He was part of this particular one. Doesn't change direction easily, can be late off the snap, has height, length, and NFL measurables, has slender frame and lacks ideal power and flexibility, struggles to shed and rarely disengages after initial contact, plays tall and gets upright, flashes strength at the point of attack with activity, violent and hand use, forceful with his upper body to defeat blocks, strong hustle player, faces double teams and holds the line, stays alive against the run, and mobile quarterback shedding to either side to chase, flashes an explosive burst and can surprise better overall athletes with the ability to get upfield, has a closing burst when given a free lane, has the frame to consider moving inside, offers some versatility, rushing from a 2 and 3 point stance with the play speed to stand up in space, flashes strength as a bull rusher and energy doesn't plateau, easily gain inside leverage by short gaps. So yeah, that is kind of some of the things that have been said about him when he was coming out of college. But yeah, this it's a move that I don't love, I don't hate. But yeah, I always say it's kind of a risk signing defensive players from a team that's defense was really, really bad. And so it doesn't necessarily move the needle for me. Again, he's a 25, 26-year-old player at this point. The Bears needed someone on the opposite side. Again, they have Austin Booker, who's someone that they like, and hopefully they're going to try to get development out of. But again, Odangbo isn't necessarily a massive needle mover. Again, even just on this, is that he's all the way down as their third stringer. So I'm curious to see how much playtime he actually had this last year. Again, 25 years old, so that is something to be happy with. He'll be, 26 at the start of the season, September 24th, so he'll be turning 26. So, yeah, it's... You just gotta hope that this wasn't just a one-off season and he can get back to this sort of production. But we will ultimately have to really see. Again, I think he was a lot higher up on this list. So we'll take a good old read on this particular one. Odangbo. Again, I would have been much more comfortable with a Josh Sweat at that sort of money, because again, you've seen the production at that point. Oh, yeah, he was much higher up on that list than I initially thought. So my apologies to him, thinking that he was so much farther down. I would have even preferred Malcolm Kuntz even a little bit more. But we'll go through this, read what PFF has to say about it, and ultimately, or kind of what they had an idea for him coming into this particular free agency period. Is he in the top 50 is the question. He is. Had patient but steady ascent over his NFL tenure after his sustained unfortunate Achilles injury during the pre-draft process. That still didn't drop him past the second round in the 2021 NFL draft. His game has rounded into form over the past 2 seasons, headlined by an 8-sack season in 2023, followed by a career-high 7 tackles for loss or no gains on 67% of his snaps played in 2024. They're comparing him to Vinny Curry in 2016. So that is an interesting one. We'll continue to read up a little bit more on the Chicago Bears' new defensive end. I see there was a big time signing there. We see that. Damon Brown to the Jags on a 1-year deal, so they get another wide receiver. Milton Williams reached agreement with the Patriots on a 4-year, $101 million deal that includes $63 million guaranteed. Carolina worked on a deal, but New England upped its price and would not be denied. The Broncos are agreeing on a deal with 49ers All-Pro safety Talanoa Hufanga. So that's actually a pretty solid move for the Broncos, because again, adding to that secondary, again, you having the reigning defensive player of the year, even though I don't agree with that particular defensive player of the year award, you're still creating that defense and making it even better. But yeah, Dennis Allen definitely has his work cut out for him. Bengals are bringing back Samaje Perine on a 2-year deal. kind of a nothing conversation with that one. But taking a look here at PFF and kind of their conversations with him, snap counts, 700, pressures 42, 42nd out of all of the defensive, or 211 defensive ends, so it's not terrible. Overall grade 66.1, 76 out of 211, 74th in the pass rush grade, run defensive grade at 133. I'm saying that he had 4 sacks this year, which is 69th. Did okay in the solo tackle department. QB hits, so yeah, 8th. That's not bad. He had 13 total pressures, 42 batted passes. He had 0. So yeah, now makes his way over to Chicago. And again, like I'm saying with this one, you paid Dennis Allen to be your new defensive coordinator, and you're getting him a bigger time, or you're paying him some money to get there. But Odeyingbo is making $16 million a year, making him the 17th highest paid edge rusher in the NFL. How he graded last year, 77th. Yep, read that one. 42. This, I get he's only 25, but yeah. This one's a little bit of a tougher one to swallow for sure, but you just kind of sit back and say, this is where Dennis Allen is gonna have to show his worth to bring this guy in and get him to that next level. Hufanga, again, a really, really solid move for the Broncos to bring in. Just take a look at Hufanga first, because I'm pretty sure he's 27, possibly younger. Yeah, no, he's only 25 years old, so he's going to be really, really young to come into this offense. The former 5th round pick, just an absolute stud of a player, been one of the very, very best in the safety positions. Didn't play as many games over the last 2 years, 10 in 2023 and 7 in 2024. So numbers a little bit down, but what is the defense that he's going to be entering with the Denver Broncos? Obviously, Pat Surtain, reigning defensive player of the year. That's going to be a big one to have, but having him enter that safety spot, Riley Moss is another decent player. So yeah, the secondary actually stays fairly young, $45 million, including $20 million guaranteed. That's, again, not a bad deal for the Broncos. Right there. Let's dive a little bit deeper on this one. Pass-ish win rate in true pass sets, pretty much the same as Walker, a little bit worse than Walker, pretty much the exact same. I take back my slight upgrade comment, but David Erdeo is younger. Again, I'm gonna need to listen to the reasoning behind why they signed him. Bills reach an agreement on former Chargers wide receiver Josh Palmer on a 3-year, $36 million deal. Not a bad deal for the Bills. Not a bad deal in the slightest bit right there. Getting a guy who's just going to be kind of like another complimentary piece and doesn't force you to go down the using your 1st round pick on a wide receiver if you're Buffalo. So yeah, some of these moves still continuing to make sense. Again, I would be lying if I said I'm struggling, if I'm not struggling with this one. Again, I just have to wonder if they're looking at him going, he's 25 years old, gonna be 26 at the very early stages of next season. He has the size. Has he played with anyone super elite in terms of another edge rusher? Again, with Montez Sweat only having the 5.5 sacks, you're really, really hoping with this guy. Again, when the Bears signed DeMarcus Walker, I said it reminded me of Al-Quadin Muhammad, where it was kind of like you're bringing in someone who had one productive year. And then, they just weren't able to match that production. Again, Odangbo right here has only had the one season of what you would call good production. Again, you just kind of go back to the Colts. Again, the year in 2023, the 8 sacks, that's something that you would feel pretty good about. But just this last season, numbers kind of dropping and not looking as great or sexy. But yeah, man, like I don't know how to feel. Like it's an improvement on the guys that we had or on the guys we currently have, but it's yeah. Okay, so Josh Sweat and the Cardinals reach an agreement on a 4-year deal worth $76.4 million, including $41 million guaranteed. So the Cardinals get themselves a really, really solid edge rusher. They get a guy that is definitely better than Odangbo. I'm at a loss for words. Me too. Me too. Eagles lost Milton to the Patriots and Josh Sweat to the Cardinals. So again, Eagles are going to have to replace some guys on that defensive line. But this was probably one of the best situations here. Betting on trades for a edge rusher after 4 seasons makes sense after 4 seasons of college, not 4 seasons in the NFL. Yeah, the more I talk about this deal, the worse it gets for the Bears. Like, the more I continue to talk about it, the more I dislike it. I dislike it immensely, especially when you see what Josh Sweat gets. Now, again, I had my concerns with Josh Sweat. For sure I did. But I would have much rather him at this particular price than what we see Odangbo. So, yeah, a little annoyed with that one. But a big-time player in Josh Sweat goes off the board and ultimately signs with the Cardinals. Goes back to his former defensive coordinator a couple years ago. The last thing I'll say about Odangbo, I'm going to need to see exactly what Dennis Allen is going to be able to do in terms of development. I've said it before, said it a couple times, but yeah, this is going to be the first Dennis Allen test, I would say. Get this guy to perform a lot better. Make this guy a player. Actually, I'm kind of curious. Again, I know Madden isn't a great place for determining how good a player is, but it gives you a decent idea of just what you're getting from some of these situations. So for me, I'll look at the Colts and I will try to find him and see exactly where he is. We're already starting to get down to a range where I am not super thrilled. I might have just skipped over him. I don't know. Okay, so he is a 74 overall defensive end. That is where the Super Bowl was. Cool. You just gave that guy a buttload of money. Cool. All right, so let's go back into teams and let's look at Drew Dalman. That would be NFC South, Falcons, apply filters, do that. Drew Dalman, 77 overall center, but feels like he's probably better. And even then, yeah, fine with it, whatever. Center, we massively improved the offensive line for the Bears, so yeah, happy to take that. Happy as can be to take that. Again, a good move, kind of being taken down a peg by a move that is viewed as nicely. Again, I would have rather had Josh Sweat Odangbo. We'll continue to see how much that annoys me throughout the rest of the day in the stream. Working on acquiring Luke Farrell. 49ers with a big addition. Jags tight end Luke Farrell has agreed to terms with the 49ers on a 3-year contract worth $20 million with $11 million guaranteed. So they're getting some help in that tight end room behind George Kittle. Let's take a look at him here. And the Jags have been signing some guys. He wasn't one of the top particular guys. I'm a little bit confused on why this guy is worth $20 million. I would love to know why the 49ers are signing him to a bigger, again, 3 years, $20 million. I don't know. But yeah, it's a whatever move. It's not on my team. If I saw that, I would probably be a little bit more upset with that particular signing. But I mean, it is what it is. It's fine. But he's just not really done anything. Yeah, our number 3 definitely having a little bit more moves and movement throughout this one. Continue to wait for some more updates here. But yeah, for the Steelers, going back to this particular team, Jags new tight end Hunter Long deal, 2 years, $5 million worth $6 million max value. Okay, so they're just kind of making a little bit of replacement there. But yeah, with the Steelers right now, not having a quarterback is going to be problematic. Because again, Justin Fields is gone. Russell Wilson, we don't know if he's going to be back. But you do have George Pickens and DK Metcalf, Pat Freiermuth, both really good. Najee Harris, you're not sure if he's going to be around. Did they already move him over to the Jets that quickly? Yeah, they did. See, that was a little bit of a quicker move. I'm just seeing if they've updated the depth chart for the Bears. They have not. Cool. I guess it's just the quarterbacks that they're quickly doing moves on. How do we feel about the Deo Odangbo? Uh, let's see if Twitter's struggling here at the moment. A little bit disappointed. Yeah. As we can see, some. Actually, we'll rewatch that. The Bears should still draft a defensive end early, even after the Odangbo move. You are betting on upside with him. You can't hedge all your bets on one guy if he's a question mark. Best to bring in competition. Plus, the Eagles show you can never have too much pass rush. I completely agree with that. So let's just watch this one. I don't even know where the hell he is. Is he on this side? Watching right here. Dude had a free rush. So, I mean, let's just take a quick look at this play and try to break it down. So here is Odangbo right on this side. Tight end moves over, so it's without a doubt a one-on-one, unless you're going to see a little bit of a chip from the wide receiver and tackle pulled. And so you also have the tight end coming back this way, Joe Mixon, trying to cut up this middle. Basically has a free lane because the tackle kind of getting in the way of the receiver. Got just a little bit of a chip. As we can see here in speed. Yeah, just that little bit of a chip there. The tight end right in that spot as the toss coming to Joe Mixon and basically able to intercept that one and kind of run that one down the field. I mean, like, that was him basically just having a free open rush towards the quarterback. It's kind of hard to judge that one, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's not the best particular play, for instance, to watch. Mostly because, again, not really tough for Odangbo to really get through. But yeah, Dennis Allen now trending. But yeah, again, this is one of those trades that I saw people mock, and this was what, 33rd team. If the Bears were to send this package for Trey Hendrickson, they would send the Bears receive Trey Hendrickson and receive pick 49. While the Bengals receive pick 30. That's even a better deal than I initially saw. Okay. Yeah, I would take this deal in a heartbeat. I think every Bears fan would. This is somewhere. Made all the sense in the world. Fits down. I'm curious on the contract details. Yeah, I need to see how Dennis Allen is gonna grow this guy. Because again, at 25 years old, you can still grow as a 25-year-old in this league, in the NFL. You just need the right coaching. And I wonder if he just wasn't necessarily getting the right coaching with the Colts. Again, I just keep talking about that move because I'm trying to wrap my head around it. And yeah, again, it's not like the free agent class for edge rushers was anything spectacular. Yeah, I'm just wrapping my mind around that one as we continue to trust the process. Giants need a ward to protect themselves from themselves, and the Bears need to center themselves in free agency to protect their crown jewel. If only they drew the right hand earlier. That's a good night. Again, we saw about that. Odengbo is conservative fix at the edge rush problem position for this defense. He's still a pass rusher. Contract will always be big. That being said, money is on the smaller side, but he's 25 and the upside potential is there. Wouldn't be surprised to see them attack an edge rusher in the draft. Again, kind of in the same boat where he's 25 years old and he's got traits and the money isn't insane for edge rushers by any stretch of the imagination, but they're also not necessarily the sexiest that they could possibly be. We'll see. Then again, we always know, or at least I know, that I'm always going to be the most critical about the team moves here. Last thing I'll say before I clearly move down on this move. The last thing I'll say, because I'm clearly more down on this move than most of you. A lot of people wanted the Bears to sign Khalil Mack, an older guy who's still a star, yet Dayo Odeyingbo is significantly worse and almost as expensive, and that's fine because he's younger. Yeah, I know coming into the day, the feeling was it was going to be Khalil Mack reuniting himself with the Chicago Bears faithful, ends up signing that 1-year deal with the Chargers. And it kind of went down this path where it's not super sexy. But yeah, man, it's tough. Excuse me. Source: former Falcons Pro Bowl D tackle Grady Jarrett, released today from Atlanta, already has found a new home, reaching an agreement on a 3-year deal, including with the Chicago. Wow. Okay. Released today from Atlanta, has already found a new home, reaching agreement on a 3-year, $43.5 million deal, including $28.5 million fully guaranteed from the Chicago Bears. Grady Jarrett. Okay. That's a move that I like significantly more. Yeah. Well, holy fucking shit, the Bears caught, I guess, law. Yeah, I guess it's time to go back to the Bears are just stealing Falcons players. Take a look at this one. They have what? No defense? What is this? Come on, Atlanta. Grady Jarrett. Again, you know, it says he's a defensive end, will likely be a defensive tackle. But yeah, just taking a look at his stats throughout his career, spent his entire career with Atlanta, has just been kind of up and down. Defensive line makeover continues. Again, former Falcons Pro Bowl D tackle Grady Jarrett, released today from Atlanta, has found a new home. 3 years, $43.5 million. Defenses. So yeah, I'm just continuing to like slowly release land. The Bears agreed to terms with former Falcons D tackle Grady Jarrett on a 3-year, $43.5 million deal. Again, playing from the D tackle spot, 2.5 sacks, 31 years old. So he brings some of that age and experience. The former 5th rounder. When did he go to the Pro Bowl? That is my question. Probably 2019, I would have to say. Top guard off the market. Aaron Banks is expected to sign with the Packers as Jordan Love gets another bodyguard. Grady Jarrett. Again, I'm always a little bit more questionable when you have a player coming from a team on the defensive line where you have a situation of they're not getting a ton of production and sacks. And again, he was a 2-time Pro Bowler in 2019 and 2020. He was a second-team All-Pro in 2019. So let's just look at those particular seasons. Again, 2019, this was a Pro Bowl year, and also in 2020. So again, Bears building up that defensive line. I feel like more people are excited about this move than I am. Yeah, I feel like there are people that are more excited about that move than I am at the moment. Like he's a good player, 31 years old. You know, is this like he's going to be your rotational type guy? So you're going to have that rotation of Andrew Billings, Gervon Dexter, and now Gerald or Grady Jarrett. Yeah, I feel like I might be a little bit more down on this move than others. Yeah, Falcons Pro Bowl D tackle, former Pro Bowler. Again, we just look at him, hasn't had a Pro Bowl experience since 2020. Yeah. Let's go back over to the good old Madden and just kind of see where they ultimately kind of have him here at the moment. Again, I am more than okay having defensive players get added to the team and make them just that little bit better. So he's looked at as an 81 overall. Yeah, shows that he is a defensive end for the Falcons, but we as we know, he isn't going to be playing defensive end. Every minute that ticks by makes me more and more sure it will be Rodgers. Let's hope not. Sterling, my podcast partner, worried as hell that the Pittsburgh Steelers will ultimately go out and sign Aaron Rodgers. As we've talked, both of us on our podcast the last couple weeks, that would be a massive mistake for not just the Steelers, but realistically for any team because of the cancer that he brings in the environment. But yeah, Grady Jarrett comes in, new Chicago Bear, comes in at an 81 type situation. But yeah, I feel like I'm more down on this move than others. But just continue to look at this, and like I might be missing something. One word. Yeah, Aaron Banks, 4 years, $77 million. Probably a little bit of some overpaying on that one. But yeah, this is a genuine question because I don't know the answer. Does Grady Jarrett have anything left in the tank? That's kind of the question that I was ultimately asking. Again, this is a guy that, again, is a talented player. But yeah, Roy Robertson Harris goes to the Giants on a 2-year deal. Yeah, Bears defensive line as of now: Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, Javon Dexter, Andrew Billings, Deo Odangbo. Grady Jarrett, you are a Chicago Bear player, so trying to find him on this particular play. This is from this year. Obviously, we'll have to watch the entire play, and then we can kind of go through it again. Number 97. Okay, so we know where he is on this particular play. Great job. So he's right here at the moment. And good. Oh, wait, no, never mind. He was playing right here. So, Jarrett. Good first move. Has to kind of go through a guy and then just able to kind of sneak through and get him. So, yeah, that's not necessarily a bad move. But I feel like I'm more down on this one than other people. But yeah, dare I say the Chicago Bears are three-peat off-season champions. You better believe it. Better believe it, baby. Ryan Poles is working on the trenches. Without a doubt, he is. It's like, again, you saw what the Eagles did this year. The more versatility that you have, and again, you want to have a bunch of versatility on that defensive line to go after and get players. Again, I still don't think this takes them out of the conversation to go out and draft someone in the second round, but it does make that defensive line better for sure. Bears, my early pick for the team that has improved the most this offseason. Jarrett and Tooney are very much needed veterans who still have plenty left in the tank. That's from Peter Schrager. So if he still thinks that he's got some stuff left in the tank, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Former Packers D tackle TJ Slaton headed to the Bengals on a 2-year, $15.1 million deal. So that continues to go on. And as we approach the end of hour 4, and we continue to see some more moves. Again, that was kind of like a little bit of a shocker move for me from the Bears. I wasn't necessarily expecting it. Released today from the Falcons lands in record time on a big deal with the Bears. Again, like I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of down on that move. Keenan Allen is still available. Yeah, I feel kind of so-so. But yeah, played in all 17 games for the Falcons and recorded 43 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks. Again, like I feel like it's just updated Bears needs. Running back Johnson needs the ball a lot. D tackle need depth with Bill and Dex. Safety, how health. Yeah, so continuing to see here again, like they're not bad. The last 2 moves from the Bears are not bad. I don't know. Like I'm just kind of feeling a little bit underwhelmed. Well, yeah, again, trenches. This is what the Bears came into this offseason knowing they needed to do. Trenches, 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 and they have improved it massively. Literally exactly what the whole fan base was begging for, and they listened for once. So yeah, like again, all 3 of these moves perfectly fine with. I'm a little bit questioning on this one, a little bit questioning on that particular one. Because again, like you have some quality players. I just don't. Again, this might just be the Bears' pessimism, but I'm kind of just sitting back. Been a fan of Grady Jarrett for a long time, although always thought he was underrated even when he was a second team All-Pro, extremely durable and bounced back from his torn ACL well, can still play. I hope so. Like this seems like it's a good move. I'm just maybe not as hip or excited about it. Like I don't know what to think. But yeah, suffered it in 2023. Came back in 2024. Didn't play a ton there, but yeah, came back as a durable player right there. Where was he ultimately? Where did he go to school? Clemson. Okay, so. And he was a 5th round pick in 2015. Who else was in this particular draft? In terms of defensive ends. Dante Fowler, not necessarily anything. Leonard Williams, okay. Vic Beasley. Eric Armstead. Shane Ray. I don't even know who the hell Shane Ray is. Is this dude even still in the league? No, he's not. So yeah, that former 1st round pick to the Broncos, absolute bust. But yeah. Again, I'm not really sure how I feel about this one. Again, not entirely sure. Again, he's had a long career, had a fairly solid career. Hopefully he still has left in the tank. But yeah, again, going in the trenches, this is how you ultimately build success. You have to build through the trenches. And the Bears have been doing that this off season. Again, this move, Odeyingbo, I'm still got some questions on. And again, I'm not fully sure with this one yet. Not fully sure. But you can without a doubt say that the Bears have more talent on the defensive line. Moving into today, there's no question that the Bears are more talented on the defensive line. And just taking a look at the Bears and this new improved depth chart. Just seeing this again, you got Montez, who is going to be your staple. Andrew Billings, who's probably going to be your next staple. Gervon Dexter, Odeyingbo, and then I wonder if they're going to put Jarrett above Dexter or what is exactly going to be. But this puts a lot of pressure on Zach Pickens, former 3rd round pick for the Bears, because we know Chris Williams was tendered, so he's likely not going to be moving anywhere. So yeah, there's gonna be some interesting questions here for sure. The secondary is set. There's no reason to even worry a moment about that secondary because it shouldn't even necessarily be that way. But yeah, the Bears trenches have gotten a lot better. But again, with a guy like Thuney, you need to get younger guys that are in that spot that you can guaranteed for a fact have development wise for the future. So that's something that you need to look at. I still want to get something better there, and I wonder if this takes the Bears away from a defensive tackle early in the draft. Like, let's say Mason Graham ends up getting there at pick number 10. Does that take the Bears away from the defensive tackle unit? I feel like it would. I've been informed of the allegations about me in a suit in CA. I really can't believe that my name is mentioned in that matter. There is absolutely no truth to those allegations. I do not know and have ever met the person that filed the suit. I'm not even going to read that. That's all Diddy shit, and I could not care about it in the slightest bit. But yeah, just kind of taking a look here at my blue sky. I often do a bunch of off-season mocks in this one, and so kind of the way that I was looking at it right here, again, this was after the trade, so Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney. And then I said, go out there and sign Drew Dahlman. I think they actually kind of nailed that one. I said Tyler Lockett as just kind of wide receiver 3. Khalil Mack. Obviously, the Bears didn't get Khalil Mack. So post-combine, I said I want to see them Drew Dahlman. Again, this guy was always on this one. Malcolm Kuntz was a guy that I was interested in potentially seeing get added. I know one that was done a little bit ago. Where's the start of it? That's a different one. But yeah, I said Trey Smith, Drew Dahlman, Malcolm Kuntz again. So I was kind of leaning more towards Malcolm Kuntz in that particular regard. But yeah, we're going to have to continue to see what this Bears team does. Again, the Bears have been one of the teams making some moves more today. Obviously, Fonga is a big-time acquisition for the Broncos, and we talked a little bit about that earlier. Again, just got to hope that he can stay healthy. A team that hasn't made any moves that I've really noticed today, Raiders being one of them. I'm really interested to see what is going to happen with the Steelers and that quarterback situation, because that is something that you are really going to need to figure out. Without a doubt, you're going to have to figure that one out. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, computer's freaking out here for the moment. I think we're still live, but everything is freaking out for the moment. And, oh, okay, yeah, no. Stop. Okay, yeah, after everything, having its small little freak out. I think we got everything situated and sorted, hopefully. Yeah, okay. Hopefully we are back to being good after PC had a small moment of panic. Because, of course, why not? Yeah, we've already seen that one. Top guard off the market, or the top guard is off the market. Is Aaron Banks the top guard off the market? I don't know if he is or not. I'm not sure if I would necessarily fully agree with that statement, to be perfectly honest and blunt, but yeah, definitely got him. Billings, I wonder if this is in regard to Andrew Billings. Yeah. Honestly, wasn't expected, but I like it. Fun to watch. Dexter Sweat, Billings improving Dexter, and Billings improved Dexter and Grady with Dennis Allen. Kind of getting some good work on that particular one. That's a completely different issue. So yeah, a few things from Chicago. Again, I would love to listen to these guys ultimately speak. And obviously we're not going to hear a bunch of these guys until Wednesday, maybe even Thursday. So that is going to be a very important day nonetheless, to see where some of these guys ultimately go and what happens with them. But yeah, overall, I got to say, Drew Dalman, extremely happy with. We're going to have to see with some of the other moves. Odangbo, again, still kind of wondering about that one. Nonetheless, we will see. We will see. Have to see again with Grady Jarrett exactly how much I'm in love with the move. But we will see. Hot off the presses. Yeah, well, it's already started, my friend, and it's definitely not the 12th. Continuing to see any of these extra moves that get brought up. No more news from things. I'm looking at it here for the moment. But I do think that is actually going to be it for me here today. Again, 4-hour stream. We're about to enter our number 5 of free agency, but I think some of the bigger moves that we've seen so far throughout the day are probably going to be cooling off. And yeah, appreciate everyone hanging out with me here today and chilling. But that is it for this one.